Chapter 2850. The entire world was like a sticky candy sticking to Du Xiaofu. He couldn't escape. Wah, could go die. For the demon clan. At this moment, dozens of demon experts at Fifth Sky of Immortal Realms sneered and stormed toward Du Xiaofu. They couldn't resist the pressure from the center anymore. They chose to explode, which hurt Du Xiaofu unimaginably. After a short moment, only around 10 experts at 6th Sky and 7th Sky of Immortal Realm were left among the 40 warriors who were still alive. They could barely resist. Under their gazes, the body of the Azure Dragon at the center was already broken to the extreme. Most of its flesh and blood had been blasted away, leaving only pieces of ghastly bones exposed and covered in blood. Arg! Du Xiaofu screamed and howled. He was in so much pain. Under the pressure of the world created by the Great Path and the explosion of the demon experts, this double attack was fatal to him. Even the blue spirit armor couldn't protect him. His aura was weakening rapidly. It was much weaker than before. If the situation continued to develop like this, it wouldn't be long before he could be easily obliterated just by relying on the compression force of the surroundings. Wah, kid, it's time for you to die. The remaining experts of the demon clan sneered darkly. They all moved at the same time, attacking Du Xiaofu. If we're here, we don't plan to go back alive. Kill. An expert at 7th Sky of Immortal Realm shouted. The scales on his body glowed with a black halo. The terrifying power of the Great Principle rose and created a giant axe with a brutal aura. It slashed down. Arg! Damn it! These words almost came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. He was in incomparable pain. Looking at the fluctuating power of the axe, Du Xiaofu felt the strongest threat. Not to mention the terrible state he was in right now, even if he was at his peak, such an attack would still cause him great harm. However, it wasn't enough. The other experts of the demon clan also took action. In an instant, numerous scarlet-red murderous auras surged in this independent world. Saber lights and sword images interweaved together, and the energy of the laws surged. All of them targeted Du Xiaofu, and they attacked brazenly. He didn't have a way to retreat. Whether it was the pressure of the world or the attacks of the experts of the demon clan, he could feel the aura of death. If it's the heaven punishment, there must be a way to break it. Although the Great Path has a taboo that I can't touch casually, it should leave me a way to survive. Otherwise, where did the 9 great realms come from? Since he couldn't resist all of this, he simply closed his eyes and began to comprehend the way to break through. The 9 realms of the 9 great realms in the 33 heavens. And they were not groundless. Although the last 2 realms, Tao Carrier and Manifestation, only existed in legends, there must have been such experts in the past. Otherwise, these 2 realms wouldn't have existed. In fact, he also understood that when one touched the great Tao in the meditative realm, they would face the attacks of the heaven punishment Tao patterns if they wanted to break through. However, there were many experts in the world who could reach an even higher level in the meditative realm. For example, the dean of Tianwu Academy who had been sleeping in the desolate ancient space for many years. If they could resist the heaven punishment, Du Xiaofu believed that he could find a way to break it as well. However, the only difference was that the meditative realm was too powerful. It far exceeded Du Xiaofu's current strength. Then what is the final chance to survive? Du Xiaofu pondered over these questions. His mind was spinning rapidly. At the same time, he circulated the power of the 4 primordial laws and tried his best to fuse them together to create a Tao pattern to resist the compression of the world. In this short period of time, the attacks of the experts of the demon clan arrived. Amidst a terrifying wave of energy, Du Xiaofu's figure was instantly engulfed. Under the compression of the world, although these attacks were far from the standard of these experts, they were still terrifying enough to crush Du Xiaofu's body into ashes. Even if he could survive in the end, he would definitely be extremely weak. If the experts of the demon clan wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping their palms. Reality was just as the experts of the demon clan had expected. In just an instant, Du Xiaofu's body was reduced to ashes. The body of the Azure Dragon was destroyed, and blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Only the redbone horse monkey's primordial spirit was left exposed. However, it was already dispirited and listless. We are just a step away from success. The heavy responsibility of the Demon Clan will be completed by us. Many of the Demon Clan members were extremely excited and started to howl. They withstood the immense pressure and charged towards Du Xiaofu again. They were preparing for a new round of attacks. Facing such a scene, Du Xiaofu, who was left with only a wisp of primordial spirit, felt a little disheartened. If it weren't for these experts of the Demon Clan, he would have had more time to think of a solution. He wouldn't have been disturbed and ended up in this state. In the end, I still can't grasp that slim chance of survival. Du Xiaofu sighed inwardly. He was confident that as long as he could break through the heavenly punishment, he would be able to contend with the experts of the Demon Clan. He definitely wouldn't be easily crushed. But the current predicament made him feel helpless. The power of the heavenly punishment was too vast, and Du Xiaofu felt powerless. Kill. At the same time, the experts of the Demon Clan launched a new round of attacks. That terrifying energy was boiling. Under the joint attack of many high-level immortal experts, that terrifying energy was boiling, as if it was going to destroy the world. The murderous aura was so vast and dense that it caused the entire world to tremble violently. Du Xiaofu opened his eyes. Seeing this tyrannical attack, a fierce light flashed in his eyes. Since I can't break through this predicament, even if I die, I definitely won't let the Demon Clan off so easily. He gritted his teeth, and the power of his primordial spirit surged wildly. He didn't even bother to recover the blood and flesh around him. Instead, he gathered all the strength in his body and charged towards the experts of the Demon Clan. Demon Clan, come! Du Xiaofu roared. The redbone horse monkey charged forward, and the world formed by the heavenly punishment moved. He no longer resisted the terrifying pressure, and released all the strength in his body. The power of the 4 primordial laws swept out crazily. Since he'd decided to kill these Demon Clan experts, he had to use all his strength to prevent them from escaping. Under Du Xiaofu's control, the time, space, matter, and soul laws began to circulate at full force. These 4 laws represented the power of the 4 symbols. He'd originally wanted to gather them together to form an even stronger source of laws. While protecting himself, he'd also be able to better resist the terrifying pressure. But now, the power of the 4 symbols had split apart, forming an 8 trigrams diagram. With his primordial spirit as the center, it spun rapidly. In the midst of it, the Tao aura that had been gathered instantly dissipated, and the surrounding pressure increased by several times. This 8 trigrams diagram was different from the void 8 trigrams that the ruler of the 3,000 boundless worlds had taught him. In the past, the void 8 trigrams power was based on the matter laws, and then mixed in with the other 3 primordial laws. They fused and rotated together, forming a single entity, and then evolved into a myriad of forms. But now, the 8 trigrams diagram that Du Xiaofu had formed was formed directly from the 4 symbols' power. Each primordial law was split into 2, each occupying an area, and was engraved with a profound source of energy. Du Xiaofu roared and moved. The 8 trigrams diagram flew through the air, directly charging towards the experts of the Demon Clan. Rumble, a terrifying tremor spread out, and the surrounding world collapsed, thousands of mountains collapsed, thousands of waves roared, and the heavens and earth exploded. This scene was extremely shocking. It was as if a peerless madman had crossed the sky and broken the mountains and rivers. In just an instant, the killing intent of the 2 sides brazenly collided. Buzz, a buzzing sound that could pierce through gold and crack stone was produced. This world seemed to have been smashed by another world, and it shook incessantly. Under the shocked gazes of the experts of the Demon Clan, Du Xiaofu's 8 trigrams diagram was extremely ferocious. It directly destroyed all of their attacks, and not even a ripple of energy was emitted. It was a crushing force. What a terrifying method! The experts of the devil race were shocked to the extreme. No one knew better than themselves just how powerful their attacks were. Not to mention the heavily injured Du Xiaofu, even if the other party was at his peak, he would not be able to take it head-on, much less be destroyed. Of course, this was due to the influence of the surrounding Tian-Fa world, but it should not be broken so easily. Go to hell, demon clan. Du Xiaofu roared. The red-bone horse monkey's body flashed through the air, and the 8 trigrams diagram followed him like a shadow, brazenly pressing down on the experts of the demon clan. He had used all the strength he could muster, and under the infusion of this strength, the 8 trigrams diagram continued to transform. All kinds of laws were born, and everything in the world appeared, forming a terrifying wheel. Under the influence of this wheel, the surrounding Tian-Fa world shook even more violently. Mountains and rivers crumbled, and space disintegrated. Such a scene caused the experts of the demon clan to feel a chill run down their spines. This brat is so strange. At this moment, for the rise of the demon clan, he has to explode himself, said a green-skinned expert at 7th Sky of Immortal Realm. Du Xiaofu's deeds were too cunning. Only by exploding himself could he cause the most damage to him. Kid go to hell? Shouted an expert at 6th Sky of Immortal Realm. He didn't think much and directly stormed toward Du Xiaofu. His body swelled and then exploded with a boom. The wheel outside Du Xiaofu's body shook hard, as if it was about to shatter. However, it was lucky that his red-bone horse monkey's primordial spirit was protected by the wheel, so it didn't receive a strong impact. Such a scene caused Du Xiaofu's heart to tremble fiercely. He was so surprised. The explosion of some experts at 5th Sky of Immortal Realm could hurt him like that. However, the explosion of an expert at 6th Sky of Immortal Realm didn't affect his primordial spirit much. This situation was so strange that he couldn't understand it. While carrying the massive wheel, the red-bone horse monkey's primordial spirit couldn't help but frown. Du Xiaofu couldn't stop thinking. Not long after, he let out a laugh that shook the sky. Ha! I got it! I got it! Ha! At this moment, Du Xiaofu suddenly understood something. It seemed like he had made a big mistake right from the beginning. It's true that the Great Path is supreme, but it's not the strongest. Although the invisible power is intimidating, the real threat is the absolute power that can be seen. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but shout. He mumbled to himself, "That's how it is. That's how it is." A strange feeling arose in his heart. It was a strange feeling that his previous knowledge was overturned in just a blink of an eye. Finally, he understood that the real power wasn't the Great Path but the world. It was true that the Great Path was supreme and stood above everything. However, after it evolved into the world, it had the power to destroy everything. The power of the heavenly punishment was derived from the Great Path and eventually formed the power of the world to suppress him. Wasn't it the same principle? Otherwise, why couldn't the countless Tao inscriptions kill him directly at the beginning? Of course, Du Xiaofu knew that it didn't mean that the Great Path was weak. It also didn't mean that he could easily resist the true Great Path. The heavenly punishment he had triggered this time was just a test. If he was killed by the Great Path, he was afraid that no one in this world would be able to escape. However, after comprehending this level, Du Xiaofu's confidence multiplied. The Great Path is supreme and the world is the strongest. Then, let's use the absolute power of the world's origin to try. Du Xiaofu's red-bone horse monkey's primordial spirit's eyes became extremely sharp. The 8 trigrams formed by the 4 great primordial principles had evolved into a terrifying wheel. At this moment, the energy in the wheel revolved crazily. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The terrifying buzzing sound pierced the ears of the devil race powerhouses. Everyone's divine soul was trembling. We can't delay any longer. Attack together and kill him. Many devil race powerhouses howled. They couldn't delay any longer. For the rise of the devil race, they had to kill Du Xiaofu. These people moved together, all pouncing towards Du Xiaofu. As long as they got close to him, they would not hesitate to self-destruct and cause Du Xiaofu to die without a burial ground. However, just as they moved, an astonishing change occurred on Du Xiaofu's body. Under the circulation of the various powers in the wheel, all kinds of things evolved. Time, space, matter, and soul, the 4 great primordial principles appeared and formed a strange scene. It was like a reflection of the real world. These terrifying powers were condensed and kneaded together by Du Xiaofu in the blink of an eye. Then they transformed into a huge light sword that could pierce through the heavens and the earth. It was like an object that could split the heavens and the earth. It directly slashed down. Chila, the light sword cut through the sky and destroyed everything. The entire Tian Fa world was about to be slashed apart. Many things collapsed and returned to their Dao patterns. The dozens of devil race powerhouses watched the sword slash down. In just a moment, they couldn't move. It was as if they were bound by some kind of powerful force. Then, the sword hit the group of people without any fancy moves. It was like the sharpest weapon in the world. It carried the power of the origin and instantly killed the dozens of devil race powerhouses. Their bodies were reduced to dust in the blink of an eye, and not even a speck of dust was left behind. Then, the light sword didn't lose its momentum. It brazenly slashed into the Tian Fa world, causing the world to be turned upside down. It exploded with a terrifying power that had never been seen before. Rumble, a loud sound shook the sky. Rocks flew through the sky. Heaven and earth rotated. The Tian Fa world, which was originally very difficult to shake, suffered a huge shock at this moment. However, everything was derived from the Tian Fa Dao patterns. It was stable and powerful. In the end, it was forcefully stabilized again. In the distance, Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan were stunned when they saw this scene. They had never thought that Du Xiaofu could perform such a terrifying attack. A group of 6th and 7th Sky of Immortal Realm experts of the demon race were killed in the blink of an eye. Du Xiaofu. Dongli Qihuang clenched his fists. He clenched his teeth so hard that they almost broke. The hundreds of dead Immortal Realm experts of the demon race were the strongest force left in the divine demon battlefield. If they couldn't kill Du Xiaofu, they couldn't think of any other way to subdue him. He must die. Du Xiaofu must die. Xin Yan's face was solemn. His face was terrifyingly gloomy. Du Xiaofu's performance made him fearful like never before. Everything about that brat was getting more and more strange. However, they had tried everything. Since the incident in Qiansu Jinghua Heaven, they had tried to kill him several times. However, they had failed at the last step. Presently, unless His Excellency personally makes a move, otherwise, wanting to kill Du Xiaofu would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. There's still a chance. At this moment, coldness shot out from Dongli Qihuang's eyes. He clenched his teeth and said, Du Xiaofu hasn't broken the Tian Fa Dao yet. If he can't resist it, he won't be able to escape death in the end. Hearing this, Shen Yan's expression froze. Boundless hope rose in his heart. The power of heavenly punishment was not ordinary. Although Du Xiaofu's final sword strike was incomparably powerful, it had probably exhausted him to the extreme. If he wanted to truly break through heavenly punishment, the chances were slim. When they thought up to here, they looked at the Tian Fa Dao with burning eyes. They wanted to witness the last hope. In the heavenly punishment world, Du Xiaofu's scarlet demonic monkey primordial spirit felt a wave of weakness. He quickly retreated, and under the power of the indestructible Shen body, his body slowly reformed and returned to human form. People of the demon race, you deserve to die. His eyes narrowed as he said this, but at the same time he rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, those demon experts were affected by the Tian Fa Dao, and their strength was greatly suppressed. Otherwise, with his cultivation, he wouldn't have been able to kill them so easily. It's just that the Tian Fa Dao is really difficult to break. However, the moment Du Xiaofu recovered, the surrounding pressures surged toward him again. Chapter 2851. At this time, Du Xiaofu had already exhausted himself to a very serious extent. He had forcefully used the immortal Shen body to restore his shattered body back to human form. However, the surrounding heaven's punishment power was not destroyed by that domineering sword strike. In just a moment, the terrifying oppressive power attacked again, from all directions, without any blind spots, fiercely pressing down on his body, wanting to crush him into powder. Du Xiaofu's heart grew even more serious. He understood clearly where the strength of this heaven's punishment world lay. It was not the power of the Great Tao itself, but this world that was born from the Great Tao. The most terrifying thing about this place was this world. If they could get rid of it, they would be able to easily survive this dangerous situation. However, seeing through all this did not mean that he could definitely break out of this situation. At the very least, Du Xiaofu's injuries were extremely severe. After the self-detonation of the devil race, Du Xiaofu was already heavily injured and did not have much strength left to fight against Tian Fa. If he was at his peak, he could still fight, and the chances were very high. Heaven's punishment of the Great Tao: if I don't fight, how would I know if I can't resist it? Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened. He silently took out a few jade green lotus leaves from his Qiankuan bag, then stuffed them into his mouth and chewed. The lotus from before had already been eaten up by him, but these lotus leaves and lotus flowers were also very extraordinary. Under the turbulent surge of vigorous energy, Du Xiaofu's body quickly recovered, and his strength also increased gradually, his aura rising. But during this process, the surrounding pressure continued to envelop him, causing his increased strength to be consumed rapidly. I don't believe in this evil. Under the attack of the terrifying heaven's punishment world, Du Xiaofu's body that had recovered with great difficulty exploded again, and blood gushed out like a fountain. He roared and took out precious medicines one after another, stuffing them all into his mouth like he was swallowing dates. The medicinal power was crazily refined by him, using it to resist the external pressure. However, doing so would still be a futile effort in the end. No matter how strong the medicinal efficacy was, it was simply not enough to balance out the energy consumed. Outside the heavenly punishment world, boundless joy welled up in the hearts of Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan as they watched the scene. Soon, Du Xiaofu won't be able to hold out for much longer. If he was at his peak, he might have had a chance to break through the great way of heaven's punishment. However, under the attacks of so many experts of my clan, Du Xiaofu was unable to escape death in the end. As long as he dies, our demon race will no longer be a threat. No one will be able to pose a threat to our Lord. The more miserable his death, the better. Both of them prayed in their hearts, hoping that Du Xiaofu would die quickly so that they could breathe a sigh of relief. As long as that kid fell, the hundreds of undyings would all die a worthy death. Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan both looked at the Tian Fa world with sparkling eyes. They wanted to see Du Xiaofu die with their own eyes. On the other side, the disciples of the various superpowers also began to try to approach the Tian Fa world after weighing the dangers for a while. Su Mo Yen, Qiyuan Lin, Lian Kain, Xiao Yun, Tingyuan Shan, Zhang Haoren, and the others were among them. They also saw the scene of Du Xiaofu on the verge of death under the attacks of so many undyings of the demon race. At that time, the hearts of these experts were all in their throats. While they were worried for Du Xiaofu, they were also angry at the despicable and sinister actions of the demon race. However, they didn't have enough strength to do anything. They could only watch everything happen with their own eyes. However, when Du Xiaofu suddenly wielded his sword and killed more than a dozen high-level undyings of the demon race, everyone was inexplicably excited and almost wanted to howl. That kind of sword was too overbearing and rarely seen in the world. Even high-level undyings would find it difficult to use it. This caused everyone to be even more certain of one thing, and it was that Du Xiaofu was indeed at the legendary Void Dao realm at this moment. The demon race is too despicable. If not for them, it might not be impossible for the Emperor God to successfully break through the great path heavenly punishment. His situation is not good now. He has used up too much energy. If this continues, it will be even more disadvantageous for him. If he can really withstand it, it will definitely affect the overall situation of the 33 heavens. Yes, grasping the 4 primordial laws at the same time and reaching the virtual path realm. No matter which one is released, it is enough to make the world go crazy. The Emperor God will definitely succeed. He has created too many miracles. He definitely won't fall at this step. Everyone couldn't help but discuss. They wanted to see Du Xiaofu succeed in resolving the crisis. Everyone present could imagine that once the purple-robed youth succeeded, The entire 33 heavens would be shaken by this news. This was too crazy. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would have dared to believe it. It was also because of this that many people hoped that Du Xiaofu would succeed. They wanted to witness the birth of this miracle. Those two demons are still eyeing us covetously from the side. Damn it. Su Mo Yan's gaze turned and shot towards Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan, his eyes filled with killing intent. If it weren't for the fact that the two of them were too strong, the young disciples of the transcendent Changrong sect would probably have gone up to fight them to vent their frustrations. Let's wait a little longer. When we are needed, we can't hesitate. With our combined strength, we should be able to restrain one of them, Xiao Yun said at this time to the crowd. Everyone nodded slightly when they heard this. They had already sent out experts to summon more people. It wouldn't be long before they gathered here. A demon clan expert at the first sky of Immortal Realm and a complete true Severing Realm expert from Transcendent Changrong Sky should be able to withstand a single blow. Even if the other party had mastered 2 primordial laws and was very strong. Soon after, no one said anything. They focused all their attention on the purple-robed young man in the heavenly punishment world. Du Xiaofu had swallowed a large amount of elixirs and was crazily refining them. However, he still couldn't make up for the huge consumption. His body was in tatters and he was in great pain. His face was contorted, and painful howls came from his throat. Even if it is the power of the Great Path, how can it stop me? These words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. His black hair danced wildly and he looked as terrifying as a blood-soaked demon king. Du Xiaofu actually gave up on resisting the terrifying pressure as he refined the medicinal efficacy with all his might. The energy produced by the elixirs flowed through his body and was gathered by him. He began to madly urge the 4 primordial laws. Sizzle, his immortal Xian body was cracking. His flesh and blood were flying everywhere from the pressure. One of his arms turned into a bloody mist in an instant. Bang! Du Xiaofu's chest exploded, revealing his pulsating, scarlet organs. Every part of his body was badly damaged. However, he still clenched his teeth tightly and endured all of this with his body of flesh and blood. Buzz! And under Du Xiaofu's full control, the power of the 4 primordial laws boiled and began to split and evolve. Just like before, an 8-trigram diagram appeared once more, occupying the void. Dazzling divine light filled the void and rippled in the heavenly punishment world. The 8 trigrams continued to evolve and a wheel appeared. The power of thousands of primordial laws vibrated within it. Terrifying roars came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth continuously, as if tearing the heavens and splitting the earth. He felt great pain. In his exploded chest, his internal organs exploded into a bloody mist, shaking the entire heavenly punishment world. Even if you are the great Tao, how can you stop me? The same words were shouted out once again. His voice was hoarse. During this process, Du Xiaofu's body had been destroyed to the extreme. His 4 limbs no longer existed, and his chest had turned into a bloody mist. Only a bloody head was left. How can you stop me? After the final roar was let out, the head also shattered. The Scarlet Horse Monkey's Yuan spirit charged out and occupied the sky. Open for me! Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit released a terrifying wave, causing the heavenly punishment world to tremble. Accompanied by such a loud roar, the wheel around him emitted an ear-piercing buzzing sound, piercing through gold and splitting stone. Under this buzzing sound, all tangible objects in the heavenly punishment world exploded, turning it into a mess. Following that, the primordial laws intertwined and evolved. The 4 primordial laws gave birth to countless minute primordial laws and began to merge and condense. Finally, it turned into a sword of light that pierced through the heavens and the earth. Open! Crash! The sword of light slashed down and ruthlessly cut through the heavenly punishment world, piercing through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. This sword of light condensed all of Du Xiaofu's strength and squeezed out every bit of strength in his body. It directly cut through the entire heavenly punishment world. In the distance, Dongli Qihuang, Xin Yan, Su Mo Yan, Qiyuan Lin, Lian Kain, Xiao Yun, Zhang Haoren, Ting Yuan Shan, and the rest watched in shock. The terrifying heavenly punishment world was like a huge mountain that was cut in half by the sword of Qin Tian, falling powerlessly to the sides. Rumble, terrifying vibrations continued to be emitted. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. The sky and earth were turning upside down. The space and time were in chaos. Everything was exploding. In the broken heavenly punishment world, tens of thousands of mountains collapsed and thousands of waves roared. Everything was completely shattered in this place, turning into a terrifying energy that flowed out. It was like a flood that rushed in all directions, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Such a terrifying scene stunned many of the onlooking experts. The clusters of terrifying energy surged towards them at an indescribable speed. At this moment, everyone was shocked by this spectacular scene. It was difficult for them to speak, but at the same time, they were also filled with despair. Under the impact of the terrifying energy, they simply did not have the time to escape. If they were directly engulfed, they would probably die too easily. Chi. However, after the destructive energy swept out, it quickly dissipated and turned into Tao patterns. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the void as if it had never appeared. Not long after, the entire world was silent. Everything no longer existed. It was terrifyingly quiet. It's over just like that? After a long time, someone suddenly opened his mouth and said such a sentence. The heavenly punishment world is broken. It's broken. It's really broken. It's too terrifying. That terrifying energy of the heavenly punishment was actually broken. If that sword was used normally, I'm afraid even an expert at the 5th sky of Immortal Realm would have a grievance. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's actually such a powerful existence in this world. He's just broken through to the true Severing Realm, but he's already this strong. The Void Path Realm. The legendary Void Path Realm. Someone has really reached it. The young disciples of the Supreme Changrong Sky were all boiling. Everyone was shocked to the point where they couldn't feel anything. Even at this moment, they still couldn't believe that there was someone in this world who could break through to the Void Path Realm and successfully resist the heavenly punishment of the Great Tao. It was too terrifying. Once the heavenly punishment world was broken, it meant that the purple-robed young man had stabilized his foundation in this realm. Compared to the normal first sky of Immortal Realm from the complete Severing Realm, he was countless times stronger. It was absolutely shocking. Du Xiaofu's name would definitely spread in the 33 heavens. Everyone would go crazy for him. Even the meditative forgetfulness realm experts wouldn't be an exception. The Void Path Realm. It was the Void Path Realm. It had never appeared since the Great War of the Demon Clan in the ancient era. Yuqing Divine Emperor, is he still alive? Just as everyone was getting excited, a weak voice suddenly rang out. Although it wasn't loud, it clearly entered the ears of every powerhouse. Hearing this, the disciples who were still clamoring suddenly became like ducks that had their throats pinched. In the blink of an eye, they didn't make any sound. They were immersed in the great shock and had neglected this fact. Du Xiaofu's final attack must have gathered all of his power. Moreover, under the pressure of the terrifying world, they didn't know if he could survive or not. After all, the injuries that those devil experts had inflicted on him were simply too great. If Du Xiaofu couldn't survive, what was the point of being shocked? Nobody talked anymore. They opened their eyes wide, looking forward. They wanted to find Du Xiaofu's trace, even if it was just a beam of his primordial spirit power. No one made a sound. They all wore a solemn face. However, as far as they could see, there was no energy fluctuation. Du Xiaofu's aura didn't remain. This made them feel as if their hearts were hit hard. They felt sad. Wah, Du Xiaofu, you're finally dead? Dongli Qiwang's gloomy laughter sounded. When it entered everyone's ears, he laughed happily, and the gloominess in his heart was swept away. Du Xiaofu's final attack was naturally terrifying and peerless, but the explosion of the heavenly punishment world was no joke. It didn't hurt anyone, but it didn't mean that Du Xiaofu could really resist it. Du Xiaofu had already exhausted all of his strength at that time. It was easy for him to be obliterated in an instant. No matter how peerless you are, how can you fight with the demon clan? Du Xiaofu, your life is already glorious enough. You almost killed a demon god. Even in the underworld, it's enough for you to smile proudly. So you can rest in peace. Wah. The corners of Qin Yan's mouth curled up as he spoke slowly. It had to be said that Du Xiaofu was indeed a heaven-defying character. From his early days in a small world until now, he had done things that ordinary people couldn't do. Even as an enemy, Qin Yan couldn't help but feel some admiration for him. However, this kind of admiration couldn't compare to the countless grudges between the two sides. Du Xiaofu's death made Qin Yan feel indescribably relaxed. The great enemy of the demon clan was finally eliminated. Has the divine emperor really fallen? Teng Yuanshan and Zhang Haoren both felt sad. This kind of result was hard for them to accept. Brother Du, Xiao Yun muttered with a wooden expression on his face. He and Du Xiaofu had known each other for a long time. Although they hadn't experienced too many trials, their friendship was still quite good. At this time, he didn't notice the existence of the purple-robed youth, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. Ai, Su Mo Yen of the Huanchu Holy Land suddenly sighed and said dejectedly, "Such a peerless genius actually fell here. The heavens are blind, the heavens are unfair." He sighed and felt that it was a pity for Du Xiaofu's death. A rare genius had died like this. If news of this spread out, the entire 33 heavens would mourn for him. It's all the demon clan's fault. If it wasn't for them, I believe that the Yu Qing Divine Emperor would definitely be able to resist the heavenly punishment. At this time, the holy son of the true Yen Holy Land, Qi Yunlin's eyes suddenly shrank as he glanced at Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan in the distance. When the others heard this, they also looked over at the same time. The demon clan. In the ancient times, the demon clan had caused chaos in the 33 heavens, causing great suffering. However, that was an ancient matter after all. Although these young disciples swore to kill the demon clan, they didn't have much hatred for the demon clan. However, at this moment, a different feeling arose in their hearts. Most of them didn't have any relationship with Du Xiaofu, but they had endless admiration for him. Du Xiaofu died because of the demon clan. A seed of hatred grew in their hearts. Especially the two from the Yu Qing Divine Kingdom. They wanted nothing more than to charge forward and fight to the death with Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. Kikik, a bunch of chickens and pottery dogs. Do you want to fight with the two of us? Dongli Qihuang sensed the gazes of these people and sneered. The many young disciples of the transcendent Changrong heaven felt a chill in their hearts. If they fought, they would only be bullied by the other party. These were two immortal existences, and both had mastered two primordial laws. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. However, just as the two sides were feeling the opposite of each other, a clear voice rang out. In this world, the demon clan will not be allowed to run rampant. Chapter 2852. Everyone's expression froze, and a strange feeling arose in their hearts. However, in the next instant, the crowd burst into an uproar. Divine Emperor! That's the Divine Emperor's voice. Yu Qing Divine Emperor, he's not dead. He's still alive. That's great. He didn't die, and he successfully resisted the great Tao heavenly punishment. The Divine Emperor is still alive. He's still alive. The group of young disciples couldn't help but feel excited. Their excitement was evident in their words, and the crowd was almost jumping for joy. They definitely didn't hear wrongly that voice. It was undoubtedly the young Yu Qing Divine Emperor. Swoosh, under everyone's gaze, a purple gold light suddenly flashed in the void in front of them. Then, the light grew bigger and bigger, and finally condensed into the appearance of the purple-robed youth, who was looking at everyone with a burning gaze. In an instant, Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan's hearts trembled violently. The two demon servants' expressions were extremely solemn, and their faces were so gloomy that it seemed like water was about to drip out of them. Du Xiaofu, you're actually still alive. Dongli Qihuang gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter, and his heart was filled with hatred. He never would have thought that Du Xiaofu actually didn't die, and actually survived that terrifying great Tao heavenly punishment. This made him feel the seriousness of the matter, and his heart was heavy and extremely solemn. He actually didn't die. He actually didn't die, Xinyan muttered incessantly, and monstrous waves surged in his eyes. Du Xiaofu's survival under the great path of heavenly punishment meant that he had successfully taken that crucial step. As an expert who reincarnated from the ancient era, Xinyan naturally knew his current cultivation level. Now, it was already impossible for the two of them to kill him. Dongli Qihuang, Xinyan, if you want to fight, there's no need for the others to do it. Why don't you let me accompany you to the end? Du Xiaofu stepped into the air and walked towards the crowd. At the last moment, when he had used his sword to break open the Tian Fa world, he had immediately hidden in the desolate ancient space. Otherwise, he would have been like an arrow at the end of its flight. Even if the real heavenly punishment had begun to dissipate, the terrifying aftershocks would have killed him 100 times over. In addition, there was time acceleration in the desolate ancient space. After a short period of recovery, and with the help of many precious medicines, he had recovered about 10% of his strength. However, this 10% of his strength shouldn't be too difficult to deal with Chen Yen and the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix after he broke through. Demons, didn't you want to fight? Our divine emperor has come out, why aren't you two talking? Zhang Haoren suddenly chuckled, looked at Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yen, and shouted. That's right. Weren't you quite arrogant just now? Make your move. A young man from one of the other factions stepped forward and said, why don't you dare to make your move? Aren't the demons always arrogant? Trash that bullies the weak and fears the strong. Come if you have the ability. Yu Qing Divine Emperor has spoken. Make your move. Go. Idiots of the demons. Soon, many experts began to clamor. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's reappearance boosted their confidence. Even if they were facing two immortal realm experts, they were no longer afraid. With the presence of the purple-robed young man, these two demons were nothing to worry about. It should be known that Yu Qing Divine Emperor had reached the legendary realm of Virtual Tao. Although no one had seen this realm before, it was unimaginably powerful. Two experts at first sky of Immortal Realm could only be trampled on in front of him. Faced with so many people pointing at them, Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan's faces became darker and darker. They were furious. They couldn't wait to tear these people into pieces with their eyes. However, they didn't dare to say anything. With Du Xiaofu's intimidation, they didn't dare to be presumptuous. I never would have guessed that you were demons. Du Xiaofu walked slowly in the air, step by step, towards Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. As he walked, he said, but now I finally understand why you appeared during the great calamity of the devil religion in Shenwu world and killed the remnants of the devil religion. And the demon god died at Jiangxin's hands. As Du Xiaofu spoke, his tone became sorrowful. At the same time, his voice carried a hint of disappointment and sadness. He lowered his gaze, his eyes shining with a faint light. He sighed again and again. Du Xiaofu, so what if you understand? Don't think you can stop the demon's grand plan with just you. Dongli Qihuang snorted coldly, then looked at Du Xiaofu. However, Du Xiaofu ignored him. As if talking to himself, he continued, now I finally understand. Even if I hadn't dealt with the demon god back then, you would have done so. Jiangxin would only be able to obtain a portion of the demon god's power if he died, and thus increase his strength. I'm afraid there are other forces in the fiend god battle realm that possess the same power as the demon god, right? So, is Jiangxin here as well? When he finished speaking, he looked up and stared straight at the two of them. In fact, long before entering the fiend god battle realm, Du Xiaofu had learned that the demon god had escaped from here. Then, he wondered if there were other nascent spirits of the demon ancestor in the fiend god battle realm. Now that he'd confirmed the identities of Dongli Qihuang, Qin Yan, and Jiangxin, it wasn't difficult to imagine that the truth was as he'd guessed. They must have come here for a reason. It was very likely that Jiangxin really was here. Du Xiaofu, there's no harm in telling you. His Excellency really is here. If it weren't for the fact that he didn't want to kill you because of their old friendship, you wouldn't have survived even if you had 10,000 lives. Chen Yan's words were gloomy and carried a sinister aura. Off to the side, many young experts began to gather around. They listened in on Du Xiaofu and the two demons' conversation, but none of them interfered. Long ago, they'd learned that the Yuqing Divine Emperor was acquainted with the two demons, and that there was an extremely deep grudge between them. This puzzled them greatly. After all, there seemed to be no trace of the demons in the 33 heavens. Now that the two sides were talking, everyone wanted to hear something from their conversation. "Is that so?" said Du Xiaofu coolly. He looked at the two demons and said, "Since Jiangchen is here, why didn't he come see me? If he wants to kill me, he should have done it himself. There's no need to talk about our old friendship. Since I've tacitly agreed to your attack on me, there's no need to talk about our old friendship." Du Xiaofu's words were extremely calm, without the slightest ripple of emotion. It was as if he was narrating an insignificant matter. But in reality, he couldn't calm down no matter what. After learning that Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan were demons, Du Xiaofu had been able to guess a few things. But now that he'd received confirmation from them, his heart was in turmoil. Back in Divine Martial World, he'd been on good terms with Jiangchen. Jiangchen had helped him many times. Du Xiaofu couldn't accept this reality. He didn't want to accept Jiangchen's true identity. But then again, this was an established fact. He couldn't change it just because he wanted to. He had to face it sooner or later. Du Xiaofu, don't think that just because you broke through to the Void Dao realm, you can fight against our excellency. You're far from worthy. Chen Yan harumphed coldly again. Whether or not I'm worthy of fighting Jiangchen isn't something you can decide. Du Xiaofu's eyes suddenly narrowed. He suppressed all the emotions in his heart and said, "But since he won't come out, I'll deal with you first. Back in Divine Martial World, I was able to suppress you so many times. I can still do it now." When he finished speaking, Du Xiaofu's voice exploded like thunder. It was as if he'd killed his way through the 9 heavens. As soon as he finished speaking, he shot forward and pounced towards Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan. Terrifying power of laws boiled around him. The 4 primordial laws intertwined and fused with each other, causing strands of dazzling divine radiance to appear. Everywhere he passed, the heavens and the earth made way for him. At the same time, numerous Dao inscriptions flew around the violet-robed young man and surrounded him. It made Du Xiaofu seem like a peerless lord who possessed oppressive might. The origin energy of the laws is so terrifying. Such a scene caused all the young experts in the surroundings to be stunned. The divine radiance contained the quintessence energy of the laws, and all of them sensed a terrifying aura of destruction from it. The Void Dao had already fused with a portion of the quintessence energy of the laws, and it had even produced the aura of the Dao. When Du Xiaofu executed it, it was truly terrifying, and they didn't dare arouse the slightest thought of resisting. The hairs on Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan's bodies stood on end when they witnessed such a scene. The quintessence energy combined with the aura of the Dao was truly too terrifying, and it caused both of them to feel extremely fearful. Retreat. Chen Yan didn't even hesitate to instruct them and flee swiftly. Meanwhile, Du Xiaofu had recovered a portion of his strength, so they didn't have the ability to kill him anymore. If they fought him forcefully, then it would only be the two of them that died in the end. "You want to flee? Do you think you can?" As Du Xiaofu said that, he waved his hand. With a swoosh sound, a large area of light shot out from his palm, spreading in the void. Those light beams quickly changed and combined, creating a large area of stripes of the principle, releasing the energy of the origin. They created a net of the principle, covering the two of them. "You want to kill us? Du Xiaofu, you're not strong enough." Dongli Qihuang shouted hurriedly. The demon aura on his body boiled, and the principle of matter condensed into an unparalleled demon saber, slashing down. At the same time, waves of soul laws spread out like waves of water, rapidly penetrating and swimming through the net of laws. "Break for me!" Qin Yan also moved. He raised a giant, pitch-black sword in his hand, thrusting it fiercely. Sizzle! Sizzle! The two demon servants at the first sky of Immortal Realm attacked at the same time. Moreover, each of them had mastered 2 primitive principles. They were incomparably terrifying. In a flash, they cut a hole in the net of the principle that Du Xiaofu had created. The two of them flashed through the gap, flying far away. They didn't dare to linger. Facing such a scene, Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows and quickly followed them. However, he didn't continue to attack. Previously, he had resisted the self-detonation of many immortal realm experts of the demon clan and the terrifying great path of heaven's punishment. At this moment, he had only recovered about 10% of his strength. It wouldn't be easy for him to take down Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. Let's go. Let's go and see. Su Mo of the Huanchu Holy Land waved his hand and took the lead, following Du Xiaofu's footsteps and chasing after Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. The others didn't need to say anything. They all moved at the same time. Their speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, many figures disappeared from their original places. While chasing after them, Du Xiaofu slowed down a lot, maintaining the same speed as Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. He didn't want to kill the two of them quickly. He just wanted to follow them from a distance. As he traveled through the air, he slowly recovered his strength. Du Xiaofu, if you want to die, just chase after us. Chen Yan fled for his life while turning around and shouting loudly at Du Xiaofu. It's just a bluff. Du Xiaofu wasn't afraid at all. He didn't fall behind. When he recovered some of his strength, he directly used the law of space to block the two of them. Without saying a word, he instantly attacked. Terrifying law origin power surged, mixed with Dao patterns, and swept towards the two demon attendants. The two of them were forced to stop and fight with Du Xiaofu. Needless to say, people that had grasped two primeval laws were indeed extremely formidable. Moreover, it was the two of them fighting together. Under such circumstances, Du Xiaofu, who had only recovered a little more than 10% of his strength, was forcefully resisted by them. The terrifying battle shook the heavens and the earth. The reddish-black soil in the Fiend God battlefield was lifted up layer by layer, and the sky collapsed piece by piece, transforming into a chaotic state. The three of them fought as they walked, heading deeper into the Fiend God battlefield. Du Xiaofu wasn't in a hurry to fight them head-on. He only wanted to delay the two of them and kill them with a single strike when he recovered to a certain extent. He didn't give them any chance to escape. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan exerted all their strength and broke through Du Xiaofu's blockade time and time again, but they were stopped time and time again. This kind of battle continued for more than 3 months. In the end, the two demon attendants suffered heavy injuries, and the strength that Du Xiaofu had recovered was also consumed to its original level. It had been maintained at 10% of its original strength. And because of this battle, their speed slowed down too much. Only in the 5th month, they were caught up by the disciples of the various large factions. At this time, they had already gathered a scale of no less than 1 million people, and they were all truth-severing realm experts. Those seizing divinity realm experts were all scattered, and no one could keep up with the footsteps of these experts. 1 million people was already equivalent to less than half of the truth-severing realm cultivators that had entered the Fiend God battlefield. It was an extremely terrifying force. Because this matter involved the devil race, no one didn't want to see the final result. Damn it! In the battle, Dongli Qihuang couldn't help but curse loudly. Not to mention a terrifying existence like Du Xiaofu, even if they were surrounded by the million slayers, the two of them would be exhausted to death. The situation was becoming more and more disadvantageous, but Du Xiaofu was too close. It was difficult for the two of them to escape. Du Xiaofu, if you really want to die so badly, I'll fulfill your wish. Shen Yan's voice was extremely cold. He broke through Du Xiaofu's blockade again and roared savagely. I know you definitely have other tricks up your sleeve. Go ahead and use them. See if I'm afraid. Du Xiaofu snorted coldly, his tone deep. In truth, he'd followed them for another reason. He wanted to find out where Jiangchen was and meet with his old friend. There were some things he wanted to ask him personally. As he spoke, Du Xiaofu's palm swept through the air. The origin of laws was vast and mighty, and Dao inscriptions surged endlessly as they spread through the air. Everywhere they passed, everything silently transformed into a state of chaos. This scene was so terrifying that the many young experts who'd followed them were dumbfounded. What terrifying strength! After breaking through, The Yu Qing Divine Emperor is much stronger than ordinary Neverwither realm cultivators. He's probably only recovered a little. If he were at his peak, these two demons wouldn't even have the right to resist him. The Divine Emperor is too terrifying. His talent and comprehension are unparalleled. No one in the world can compare to him. This is the illusory realm, a terrifying realm that only exists in legends. It's hard to imagine how far the Yu Qing Divine Emperor will go in the future. Let's kill these two demons. With them around, the Fiend God battlefield won't be peaceful. If we kill them, we can continue exploring and reap the benefits. Otherwise, all the disciples who've entered this place won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Don't worry, the Yu Qing Divine Emperor won't let them escape so easily. They're dead for sure. Divine Emperor, hurry up and kill these two. Many of the young experts couldn't help but discuss among themselves. They were all shocked by Du Xiaofu's strength. The purple-robed young man had withstood the self-detonation attacks of many devils, and he had also resisted the great Tao heavenly punishment. However, even though he was exhausted to the extreme, he was still able to chase the two powerful devils to the point where they had nowhere to go. This made everyone feel extremely happy. Every young disciple of the transcendent Changrong heaven was filled with endless emotions. They were impressed by the Yu Qing Divine Emperor's strength and were filled with awe and respect. No one could imagine what realm Du Xiaofu would eventually reach and what heights he would stand at. If he could break through the illusory realm, wouldn't he be able to reach the carrier realm? If that was true, it would be even more terrifying. While everyone was thinking about this, they also hoped that Du Xiaofu would be able to kill the two demons as soon as possible. Otherwise, many of the young disciples would be in danger in the Fiend God battlefield. They didn't dare to forget about the hundreds of immortal realm demons that had appeared earlier. Thinking about it this way, it was not difficult to guess that there were probably even more demons gathered here. It was definitely an incomparably terrifying force. Du Xiaofu was very strong, but he couldn't split himself. If the two demons escaped, the situation would be extremely bad. If the hidden demons came out in full force and were led by the two immortal realm demons, the situation would be dire. It wouldn't be good news for anyone. Chapter 2853. Du Xiaofu's palm swept through the sky towards Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. The energy of the laws that filled the sky shook, and it carried the aura of the Tao as it crushed down, causing the two demon attendants to not dare resist it at all, and they could only run for their lives. When this palm struck them, it struck them to the point they coughed up blood without end, and their bodies split apart. It was a tragic sight. "Let's go!" Dongli Qihuang's expression was extremely savage as he roared fiercely, and then he flashed forward with Chen Yan without even looking back. "Du Xiaofu, don't even think of killing us." Chen Yan howled as well, and his eyes were suffused with a ghastly devilish glow. He suddenly raised his head and suddenly let out a string of long howls that swiftly spread out as if he was sending out some sort of signal. However, not long after this howl finished, a pitch-black light suddenly appeared in the distant dark horizon, and it emanated a boundless and dense aura of blood. Enormous rumbling sounds faintly resounded from the horizon, and it grew louder and louder. It was like an army of thousands of galloping horses and howling as it tore through space and arrived. As expected, they still have a backup plan. Du Xiaofu's brows knit together tightly when he saw such a scene, and he muttered to himself. There was no need to guess the enormous scene in the distance. It was definitely an army of devils, but he didn't know how many formidable existences there were among them. He turned around and glanced at the million experts from the supreme Changrong heaven. They were all at the true severing realm, and if a large number of eternal realm experts appeared in the devil race, then it was absolutely not good news. Du Xiaofu wasn't afraid of himself, but he was afraid that these young disciples would suffer too many losses if they fought. Is it the devil race? There was no need for Du Xiaofu to remind them, and the young disciples quickly noticed the seriousness of the matter. "Everyone, it's time for everyone to join forces and fight a bloody battle. The devil race army has appeared. If there's anyone who's afraid of death, then it's better to retreat as soon as possible so as to avoid losing your life." Du Xiaofu turned around and transmitted his voice to the disciples of the supreme Changrong heaven. When the million people heard this, more than half of them were instantly filled with fighting spirit. They were not afraid at all. However, there were still some people who had the intention to retreat. It seemed that they didn't want to die in vain here. The demon race is the common enemy of all life in the 33 heavens. We will naturally fight the demon race to the end. Xiao Yun walked out of the crowd and spoke loudly to Du Xiaofu. Soon after, he changed the topic and asked, "However, Brother Du, all of us have a question that we would like to know. You seem to be old acquaintances with those two devils, so where exactly are they from?" The other experts all looked at Du Xiaofu, wanting to hear his answer. This was a question that everyone had in mind. "I came from a small world and met these two people many years ago. But at that time, they were still normal humans. But now, it seems that these two are the reincarnations of the devil race's experts from back then. They have awakened their memories in this life." Du Xiaofu didn't hide anything and transmitted his voice to the young disciples. He didn't explain much and only gave a simple explanation. However, these simple words caused the expressions of the disciples of the supreme Changrong heaven to become extremely serious. It wasn't hard for them to imagine that the Yuqing Divine Emperor must have had many disputes and grievances with the two immortal rank experts of the devil race in the small world. Perhaps, after they came to the 33 heavens, they wanted to kill Du Xiaofu for other reasons. The reincarnations of ancient experts. Is the demon race trying to make a comeback? Huanchu Holy Land's Saint Sun Su Mo Yan's eyes had already sunk. His heart was filled with boundless solemnity. The other holy sons and holy daughters also thought of this. At the beginning, they thought that the two people were just the remnants of the devil race in the celestial demon battlefield. They didn't think that they really came from the outside world. There are many remnants of the devil race in the celestial demon battlefield. Are they trying to gather their old subordinates and continue to wreak havoc in the 33 heavens? Qi Yuanlin, the holy son of the true Yen holy ground, said with a deep look in his eyes. If they continued to speculate like this, it was easy to figure out the purpose of Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan entering the celestial demon battlefield. The scene in front of them, where thousands of soldiers and horses were galloping in the sky, was already very good evidence of this point. The devil race army was summoned by the two people. This meant that Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan had already met with the remnants of the devil race. Previously, they had even led hundreds of immortal realm experts to attack Du Xiaofu. Disciples of the Huanchu Holy Ground, listen to my orders. Prepare to fight. Su Mo Yen suddenly shouted in a deep voice. The aura of his entire body was vast and mighty. The terrifying power of the rules spread out in the void. The cultivation of the complete true severing realm shook without reservation, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Disciples of the true Yen holy ground, listen to my orders. Kill the devil race. Fight to the death. Qi Yuanlin also shouted, giving orders to the disciples of the true Yen holy ground behind him. Disciples of the mirror moon holy ground, follow me to fight the devil race. Lian Kai Yun shouted. Her colorful clothes fluttered, and her exquisite body moved into the air. Kill the devil race. Fight to the death. The disciples of the three holy grounds were boiling. Since they knew that the devil race had the intention of making a comeback, they could not let them run rampant. Only a bloody battle would be the best blow to them. Even if they died, so what? It was also when the aura of the people of the holy grounds was like a rainbow that the black light in the distance became more and more dazzling. It had already approached where everyone was. Du Xiaofu, you want to kill us? You are simply wishful thinking. Shen Yan turned his head and said to Du Xiaofu with a cold smile. He had not stopped fleeing. Du Xiaofu also followed closely behind him, launching attacks from time to time. The celestial demon battlefield will definitely be your burial ground. Du Xiaofu, just wait for your death. Dongli Qihuang said savagely. He rushed forward and rushed in the direction of the devil race army. You're still bluffing at a time like this. Do you really think that I can't see that the army you summoned is just a bunch of clay chickens and pottery dogs? Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes and said with a cold snort. He released the power of his origin spirit, covering the many devils that were getting closer and closer. Soon, he understood the situation of the devil race army. Wrapped in that black light, there were no less than 3 million devil race powerhouses coming over. Their momentum was aggressive, and they carried piercingly cold killing intent. But among these 3 million devil race powerhouses, there were not many true powerhouses. Du Xiaofu made a slight estimate. There were about 10 Eternal Realm powerhouses, and the strongest were only 3rd or 4th layer Eternal Realm. Truth-severing realm devils were much more, about as many as 600,000 to 700,000. As for the other 2 million plus devils, they looked densely packed, but in reality, most of them were only in the seizing deity realm. There were even hundreds of thousands of origin realm powerhouses among them. If such an army was in normal times, it would indeed be terrifying enough, and it was sufficient to rival the total number of young powerhouses in a divine kingdom. But one had to know that all the outstanding geniuses of the supreme Changrong heaven were gathered in the celestial demon battlefield, and there were even 1 million truth-severing realm powerhouses here. If they really charged, the devil race would absolutely not be able to gain any advantage. And such an outcome allowed Du Xiaofu to heave a slight sigh of relief. We'll talk about it after you survive the encirclement of my devil race army. Dongli Qihuang was slightly furious when Du Xiaofu saw through him, and he hooted hatefully once more before continuing to flee. Let's go! Chen Yan stared deeply at Du Xiaofu, and then he flashed out swiftly with Dongli Qihuang. Since I didn't allow the two of you to leave, then none of you can leave. These words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth, and then he suddenly slapped his palm towards the sky. After a rumbling sound resounded, the space before Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan collapsed completely. The laws there were thrown into disorder, causing the space there to become extremely chaotic, and it was even impossible to move through space. Their footsteps were obstructed because of this. Kill! Du Xiaofu shouted as he suddenly charged forward and assaulted Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. Even though he'd only recovered around 10% of his strength at this moment, it was extremely terrifying when he attacked the two of them. Coupled with the fact that the two devil attendants didn't have the intention to continue fighting, they could only be in a passive state and suffer a beating. In next to no time, they were blasted flying by Du Xiaofu while devil blood sprayed through the air. Along with the ceaseless passage of time, the devil race army in the distance quickly arrived before them. A few million people charged forward at the same time, causing the heavens and the earth to tremble and space to tremble. It was like a long river and enormous waves were surging over while whistling. Don't mind the others. Join hands to kill this kid first. The eastern departing Crimson Phoenix was sent flying by Du Xiaofu's palm. Its body drew a perfectly straight arc, crashing right into the formation of the Fiend Race army, smashing down a swathe of people. After he steadied himself, he shouted at more than 10 immortal demons. Kill. After receiving Dongli Qihuang's order, the immortal demons all stormed out, directly attacking Du Xiaofu. You want to stop me with just a dozen of you? Du Xiaofu's voice was cold. The 9 god lightning cauldrons flew out, smashing 2 first sky of immortal realm experts away in just a blink of an eye. Today, after he had broken through the complete true severing realm and reached a new realm, his competence wasn't the same as before. Ordinary first sky of immortal realm experts weren't worth his attention. Kill this kid. However, in the face of Du Xiaofu's ferocious attacks, none of the devil race retreated. Like a swarm of bees, they swarmed towards Du Xiaofu, not fearing death. They wanted to fight with their lives on the line. In just an instant, the purple-robed youth's figure was drowned in the sea of people. Du Xiaofu, sooner or later, you will die without a burial ground. Looking at this scene, Dongli Qihuang coldly looked back and gritted his teeth. Let's go! Shen Yan called out. After that, he didn't care about the intense battle situation and flew away with Dongli Qihuang, continuing to madly escape. They knew that these millions of devil race experts wouldn't be able to stop Du Xiaofu. After all, Million Zhanzhen was watching from the side. If they didn't leave quickly, the two of them would have to face the fate of being chased. There are so many devil race experts, but their overall strength doesn't seem to be too strong. Su Moyan muttered as he watched Du Xiaofu being besieged. With that, he waved his hand and shouted, "Disciples of Huan Chu Holy Lands, follow me to kill the devil race." Tens of thousands of Huan Chu Holy Lands' true Severing Realm disciples howled and rushed out, directly attacking the devil race army. "Disciples of Qing Tsang Holy Lands, follow me to kill the devil race." Xiao Yun's figure rushed out, bringing tens of thousands of true Severing Realm experts with him. "Disciples of Zhenyan Holy Lands, follow me to kill." "Disciples of Feng Lei Holy Lands, kill." "Disciples of Mirror Moon Holy Lands, kill the devil race." "Emperor Dragon Holy Lands, fight." "Dao Xian Holy Lands, kill." "Startling Star Holy Lands, kill." "Profound Sun Holy Lands, fight." Fight, fight. "Disciples of Ling Gang Holy Lands, follow me to kill." As the shouts fell, the disciples of the various holy lands all rushed out, attacking the devil race. "Nia Huang Divine Country, follow me to kill." "Tai Yi Divine Country, kill." "Bright Origin Divine Country, charge." "Purple Clouds Divine Country, kill the devil race." Some of the Divine Country's disciples also moved instantly. Together with the other holy lands, millions of people let out earth-shaking battle cries and rushed to the battlefield. Along with these people's movements, the encirclement of millions of devil race soldiers surrounding Du Xiaofu was broken in just a blink of an eye. In just one move, a large number of void-returning realm and god-seizing realm devils were killed. A few useless chickens and pottery dogs. They were just sent out to die. It was unknown when Du Xiaofu had raised the heavenly tower of purple gold in his hand. With one slash, he killed a second sky of immortal realm devil covered in scales, cutting him in half. Then, he controlled the 9 heavenly thunder cauldrons to suppress at the same time, smashing another third sky of immortal realm devil into a pile of meat paste. However, under this kind of battle, Du Xiaofu had consumed a lot of energy. Soon, he didn't even have half of his strength left. This kind of battle was too terrifying. He didn't want to lose Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan's trace, so he had to risk his life. After paying a big price, Du Xiaofu quickly killed 5 immortal realm experts of the demon clan. He had cut down half of the enemy's top fighting force. Get lost. Du Xiaofu used his sword to push back another 4th sky of immortal realm expert. At the same time, he shouted hoarsely. He glanced at the direction Qin Yen and Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix had left towards, and the energy of his soul core was on the verge of losing their tracks. If he still didn't pursue them, then it would probably be difficult to find them again. "Stop him! Give them more time to leave!" An expert of the demon clan screamed. They naturally knew that their millions of people were just cannon fodder to stop the advance of the human race. However, even though they knew this, none of the demons retreated. All of them unleashed their strongest attacks and fought with all their might. "Kill those humans!" The other demon clansmen had gone mad. They howled like rabid dogs that didn't care for their lives. The million slashes true realm young elites were actually blocked by them, and their footsteps were firmly held back. The depths of the fiend god battlefield. As he fought, Du Xiaofu gazed into the distance. He was looking in the direction Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan had left. "Jiangchen, are you there?" He didn't know what was in the depths of the fiend god battlefield, but according to Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan, Jiangchen had also entered the fiend god battlefield. Perhaps he really was there. Du Xiaofu really wanted to see Jiangchen. After all, they were old friends. There were some things he wanted to ask him in person. "Go to hell, brat." While Du Xiaofu was lost in thought, a 4th sky of immortal realm expert attacked. He wielded an enormous demon saber, which he slashed at the purple-robed youth as if he were holding a mountain. Swoosh! The saber slashed down and knocked Du Xiaofu away. His immortal Xian body exploded. His tendons and bones were broken. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had consumed too much of his energy. Since the 4th sky of immortal realm expert was so strong, he was caught off guard and hurt badly. "You're the one who should die." Du Xiaofu's eyes sharpened as he spoke fiercely. He gathered all the energy in his body. The origin of the four great laws boiled and created a Tao aura. A giant halo appeared and pressed down on the fourth sky of Immortal Realm expert. Without any surprise, this devil race expert was instantly suppressed, and his primordial spirit was instantly destroyed. He was deader than dead. After this attack, Du Xiaofu's entire body went limp. He had used up all his energy. This kid can't resist anymore. Kill him. The remaining 5 Immortal Realm devils shouted excitedly. They were extremely excited. Before the 2 masters left, they had given an order. They didn't need to care about the others. They just needed to kill this kid. The best time had come. They were about to complete their mission. Yu Qing Divine Emperor, let us fight. At this moment, Su Mo Yen, Qiyuan Lin, Lian King, Xiao Yun, and the other young experts at the complete true severing realm dashed over. Divine Emperor, leave the demons to us. Teng Yuanshan, Zhang Haoren, Meng Dongyang, and the others dashed over and stopped the demon experts' new attack on Du Xiaofu. Not only them, Yu Chengyan, Yu Chengyao, Yu Ran, and many other late-stage truth-severing cultivators who had long since gathered together also made a move. No less than 500 young elites made a move together, and only then did they barely manage to block the demon elite's accumulated power attack. Luckily, the 3rd and 4th sky of Immortal Realm demons were killed by Du Xiaofu. Otherwise, even if hundreds of true severing realm experts joined hands, they wouldn't be able to kill him in one move. Back off. These people can't do anything to me. Du Xiaofu heaved a sigh of relief. He kept stuffing precious medicines into his mouth and refining them like crazy. Although he had consumed a lot of energy, his life wasn't in danger yet. However, it was different for Su Mo Yen, Xiao Yun, and Yu Qingyan. If they weren't careful, the remaining Immortal Realm experts of the demon clan could kill them instantly. Du Xiaofu didn't want to see this kind of result. Demons, don't even think about stopping me. Du Xiaofu suddenly stood up and controlled the 9 purple thunder Xian cauldrons to attack one of the demons. Rumble. The 9 cauldrons crushed the void and surrounded the demon from all directions. Then, they smashed down fiercely like a mountain, causing the demon's flesh and blood to fly everywhere. He had suffered terrible injuries. Kill! When Su Mo Yen and the others saw this, they immediately swarmed forward and attacked with all their might. Soon, they suppressed the demon expert at the 1st sky of Immortal Realm. Rumble. The 9 cauldrons moved again and blocked the other demons' attacks on Du Xiaofu. Those who block me die. These words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. Under his fierce power, another demon was suppressed. Chapter 2854. Many young disciples of the transcendent Changrong sky took the opportunity to attack and kill the demon once again. At this time, the surrounding battle was also very intense. Fortunately, Du Xiaofu had 1,000,000 true severing experts on his side, which was about 300,000 to 400,000 more than the demons. In front of these 300,000 to 400,000 people, those God-seizing realm and virtual returning realm experts were unable to withstand a single blow. Very quickly, more than half of them died. Ha! Good kill. These demons deserve to die. Su Mo Yen laughed loudly. With the cooperation of everyone and Du Xiaofu, these Immortal Realm experts of the demons would probably be killed in no time. Sure enough, as the situation of the battle became more and more intense, Du Xiaofu also executed all of his final techniques, and with the assistance of many true severing perfection stage experts, he killed all of the Devil Clan's immortal stage experts. Kill. As for the other demons, don't let a single one of them off. The disciples of the transcendent Changrong sky roared and charged fiercely at the demons with terrifying attacks. On the side of the demons, a large number of virtual returning realm and God-seizing realm experts died, exploding into clouds of blood mist in the void. Many of those true severing realm experts also died. Less than half of the 600,000 people were left. However, the young disciples of the various factions also suffered heavy casualties. At least 200,000 people died in the hands of the demons. The lords have all died, our demons can't hold on anymore. The remaining demons saw their immortal realm experts being killed one by one, and no longer had the courage to continue fighting. Many people began to have the intention to retreat, wanting to escape. We can't hold on anymore. Retreat quickly. There was no meaning in continuing to fight. That purple-robed youth was still alive, and these true Severing Realm experts had no way of killing him. Run! Not long after, there were already demons who began to flee. Run quickly. With someone taking the lead, a wave was set off, and even more people began to flee. As demons, even though they weren't afraid of death, the 2 demon attendants had already left, and the other undyings had all fallen. If they continued to fight, it would only increase the number of deaths they would have to face. Demons, where do you think you're going? The young disciples of the transcendent Changrong heaven all shouted as they gave chase. At this time, their eyes were bloodshot. No one was willing to let the devils off easily. Moreover, many of his acquaintances had died in the previous battle. Only by killing all of these devils could he vent the hatred in his heart. You can leave if you want, but leave your life behind first. Eliminate the demons. All the cultivators roared. Their weapons glowed, and a large amount of power of law boiled endlessly. They launched an earth-shattering pursuit towards the devil race. Once the thought of retreating arose, the consequences would be extremely terrifying. The entire demon race would be routed like a landslide. All the experts of the transcendent Changrong heaven gave chase at the same time, following closely behind. Those void reversion and god-sizing realm cultivators who did not flee fast enough were killed in droves and chopped into minced meat. Yuqing Divine Emperor, how are you doing? Su Mo Yen, Qiyuan Lin, Lien Kaiyun and the others were not in a hurry to pursue. They came to Du Xiaofu's side and asked him. The purple-robed young man had brought great shock to them. Breaking through to the empty path realm in the celestial demon war realm was something that had never happened before. It was impossible not to go crazy over it. If he could recover to his peak strength, not to mention those demon race experts, even if there were level 6 or level 7 immortal realm experts, they would still have a chance to fight him. I'm fine. I just used too much energy and need time to recover. Du Xiaofu waved his hand at the crowd and said, previously, after breaking through the great path of heaven's punishment, he had immediately fought with Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan. After that, he was intercepted by many demon race experts. He had not had a chance to recover his strength. Moreover, in order to kill those powerful immortal realm experts, he had used up all his energy. At this time, he did not have much combat strength left and needed to rest. Emperor God, the 2 demon race experts have escaped. Their status in the demon race should not be low. Otherwise, millions of experts would not be willing to be cannon fodder for them. Teng Yuanshan came to Du Xiaofu's side and said, why don't you stay here and recover your strength? We will continue to pursue them. We have to get rid of the demon race army. He was a little worried. After all, Du Xiaofu had just broken through. If he used up too much energy, it would affect his cultivation foundation. That would be a big problem. Teng Yuanshan did not know much about the empty path realm. He did not want Du Xiaofu to hurt his foundation. No need. I won't let those 2 go. Du Xiaofu waved his hand and then said to the other forces, moreover, the demon race may have more forces in the celestial demon war realm that they can mobilize. The deeper we go, the greater the danger we may face. However, no matter what, I have to go there. As for you guys, it's up to you. If you are willing to hunt down the demon race, then come with me. If you are not willing, I won't force you. However, for safety reasons, I suggest that everyone stay together and concentrate their strength to avoid being ambushed. Du Xiaofu looked at Su Mo Yen, Qiyuan Lin, Lien Kaiyun, Xiao Yun, and the other leaders of the Holy Lands and Divine Kingdoms. There was no need to think about it. There were definitely powerful demon race experts in the depths of the celestial demon war realm. After all, Jiangchen was also here. However, Du Xiaofu wanted to meet the other party. No matter what, he had to make this trip. As for the disciples of the Holy Lands, he would not force them. After all, it was very dangerous. After hearing Du Xiaofu's words, many people fell into deep thought, weighing the pros and cons. Not long after, Suemo Yen raised his head and said, "Yuqing Emperor, our Huanchu Holy Lands will go with you. Since there are many demon race experts in the celestial demon war realm, this place is no longer a safe place. We can be ambushed at any time. Rather than waiting to be killed, we might as well take the initiative to kill them." That's right. We don't even have a single immortal realm expert among us. If we encounter a large number of demon race experts, only death awaits us. Just as Holy Sun Huanchu said, we might as well take the initiative and kill even more demon race experts. Qi Yuanlin nodded, expressing his agreement with Su Mo Yan's words. They all knew that if it weren't for Du Xiaofu's existence, the millions of demon race experts who had just appeared would have been enough to crush them. After all, the other side had more than a dozen immortal realm experts. If they killed their way into a group of true severing realm experts, it would be no different from a tiger entering a flock of sheep. And if a similar situation occurred in the future, without Du Xiaofu's protection, they would probably die a horrible death. Our Mirror Moon Holy Lands will also go with Yuqing Emperor, Lian Qian said as she walked out with light steps. Since the demon race still hasn't given up on their evil intentions and wants to make a comeback, I think they'll definitely concoct an even bigger scheme. Since we've already seen through it, let's go with Brother Du and see what other tricks they have up their sleeves. Xiao Yun said as he nodded. The celestial demon battlefield was a battlefield that had existed since ancient times. There were originally a large number of demon race survivors here. Millions of years ago, a terrifying expert escaped from here and caused a calamity to befall transcendent Chong Rong heaven. And now, two reincarnated experts of the demon race had come from the outside world. They must have concocted an even more terrifying scheme. Xiao Yun really wanted to know how the devil race operated, and whether there were even more secrets hidden in the fiend god battle realm. I hope that the matter here will quickly attract the attention of the grand elders of transcendent Chong Rong heaven. If the demon race's scheme is too big, with our strength, I'm afraid it will be difficult to stop them. Another true severing consummate expert walked out and said to the crowd, if they wanted to fight against the powerful demon race with just these young disciples, they would not be able to do so. The crowd was not naive enough to think that the demon race army that was currently escaping was all the demon race had. The grand elders of the outside world probably did not expect that after so many years of purging, there were still so many powerful demons in the celestial demon battlefield. Otherwise, no one would have dared to let millions of young disciples enter this place for training. Since you all want to take a look, let's advance and retreat together. Du Xiaofu felt somewhat gratified. With so many people following them, they could deal with even more variables. At the same time, however, he felt a great deal of pressure. After all, Jiangchen had probably reached a very powerful level. At the very least, he was not inferior to him. In that case, the danger they would face would be even greater. Let's go. Du Xiaofu said no more. With a wave of his hand, he led the crowd in pursuit of the fleeing demon race experts. He did not personally take action. Instead, he handed the ancient barren space over to Yu Qingyan and entered it himself. He continuously swallowed large amounts of elixirs and fought for time to recover. After breaking through to the illusory path realm, Du Xiaofu had already fused a portion of the origin laws. Furthermore, this origin laws could give rise to Tao rhythms. In this aspect, no immortal realm expert could compare to him. It was also because of this that the ancient barren space refined by the Tianwu Academy's principle could be controlled more freely. It was more like a secret treasure that could be handed over to others to carry around. Illusory Path Realm? In the ancient barren space, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged. While he was refining the elixirs, he was also thinking about his current state. He had heard from Su Mo Yen and the others that he was currently in this realm. Previously, Du Xiaofu had tried to break through to the immortal realm using the power of the 4 great primal laws. However, he had failed. After that, he suddenly had an idea. With the power of the 8 trigrams in the void as a foundation, he allowed the 4 great primal laws to fuse together. Indeed, he had broken through a layer of obstruction. After breaking through this layer of obstruction, he had stepped into a realm that no one had been able to reach since ancient times. The four great primal laws fuse together to form the origin laws. At the same time, this origin laws can give rise to Tao rhythms. No wonder the immortal realm and meditative realm are said to be derived from this realm. Tao rhythms, that is a power that only meditative realm experts can possess. Du Xiaofu could not help but sigh. All these years, he had cultivated the four great primal laws at the same time and had broken through at the same time. He had also experienced countless dangers and had put in a lot of effort. However, this kind of effort was worth it. The illusory path realm was the best result. After breaking through to the true severing realm, one would be able to give rise to Tao rhythms. Although the Tao rhythms were much weaker than the origin laws of the meditative realm, it was already terrifying enough for an immortal realm expert. I wonder how the illusory path realm is divided and how to break through in the later stages. Du Xiaofu had never heard of this realm before. He only knew about it from Su Mo Yen. There were very few people in the 33 heavens who knew about this. He was looking forward to it, but at the same time, he did not dare to let his guard down. That terrifying great Tao heavenly punishment was still fresh in his memory. Needless to say, as his cultivation became deeper, the later stages of the test would definitely become more and more terrifying. After the illusory path realm is the carrier realm and the formless realm. These two realms only exist in legends, and they are even more vast and unfathomable. Since ancient times, there have been many meditative realm experts who have touched the threshold of the carrier realm, but no one has truly been able to reach it. Will there be a day when I can try to break through to that height? Du Xiaofu thought in his heart. It was impossible for him to be willing to stop at the illusory path realm. Naturally, he wanted to reach an even deeper level. Moreover, Du Xiaofu believed he had that chance. After all, if he could break through the legendary illusory path realm, what was impossible about the carrier realm and the avatar realm? I'd better take it one step at a time. I can only rely on myself to figure out the illusory path realm. No one can provide me with pointers. Du Xiaofu immediately put away all his thoughts and thought like this. In this realm, it would be difficult for any expert to truly give him pointers. Even Chu Daoju, Ling Feng, Long San, Yutian, and other terrifying undying ninth heaven existences couldn't. I wonder what level Jiangchen has reached by now. Du Xiaofu thought back to the events of the Fiend God battlefield and couldn't help but sigh. Back in the divine martial world, his friendship with Jiangchen could be considered deep. They'd gone through trials and tribulations together, and Jiangchen had even helped him. Jiangchen had also taken Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan from his hands. Because of their relationship, Du Xiaofu hadn't asked too many questions. However, after that one time, Du Xiaofu and Jiangchen had never met again. At the final juncture of the devil religion's great calamity, Jiangchen, in the form of a golden hoe, had arrived. He devoured the heavens and killed the resurrected demon god. However, at that time, Du Xiaofu had already perished. He hadn't witnessed such a scene. Who would have thought that when he ran into Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan in the 33 heavens, he'd unknowingly found himself on opposing sides. As for Jiangchen's true identity, it wasn't difficult for Du Xiaofu to guess. He had to be the strongest expert who'd wreaked havoc in the 33 heavens since ancient times, the demon ancestor. Are you still Jiangchen? Du Xiaofu wondered. He didn't dare imagine it. Jiangchen had the body of a zombie. So-called zombies were corpses that gained sentience. Because of this, he'd never been able to discover his true identity. If he wanted to increase his strength, he'd have to find his suppressed primordial spirit. That would explain why Jiangchen had killed the demon god, whom not even the rulers of the 3,000 boundless realms and the heavenly Dao's Du clan ancestor had been able to kill. However, he didn't know if the Jiangchen who'd fused with his primordial spirit was still the same Jiangchen Du Xiaofu knew. When he thought of these questions, Du Xiaofu's heart filled with boundless melancholy. He valued friendship greatly. He really didn't want to become enemies with Jiangchen. No matter what, he had to find him and ask him in person. Let's focus on recovering our strength first. Everything else will come to an end one day. Du Xiaofu suddenly let out a long sigh. Then he stopped thinking about it. Closing his eyes slightly, he circulated the mystic energy in his body. Rays of light from the laws of nature drifted out and formed strange patterns that were vast, profound, and unfathomable. As time passed in the barren dimension, his aura grew rapidly. His terrifying power grew more and more vast. In the end, the entire ancient desolate space began to tremble, emitting a huge rumbling sound. Violent winds, torrential rain, lightning, and fire intertwined, surrounding Du Xiaofu. The strongest power in the world isn't the great Tao, but rather the world it creates. Could this be the path to the realm of Taobearer? Suddenly, Du Xiaofu came to a realization. Earlier, when he'd deciphered the world created by the great Tao's heavenly punishment, he'd thought of this. Although the great Tao was supreme, its true strength lay in the fact that it could create the boundless realms and create all things. Thus, the ultimate manifestation of the great Tao's power was the world it created. Because of this, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but have a guess. Could it be that the realm of Taobearer was the creation of one's own world? This general direction shouldn't be wrong. After thinking for a long time, Du Xiaofu finally nodded and muttered to himself. Since no one could guide him, he would do it according to his own ideas. There shouldn't be any deviation in this general direction. In that case, the origin of laws isn't the strongest method. The real strength is to divide the origin of laws and evolve it into a terrifying world. Only in this way can one reach a stronger place. Du Xiaofu continued to comprehend. His hands moved in the void, and a huge 8 trigrams diagram appeared. Then it split apart again, forming a terrifying wheel. Inside it, fine origin of laws flowed. These origin of laws were woven into shape by Du Xiaofu, and then transformed into a 10,000-foot-long sword. As it flashed, it carried an incomparably fierce power. This sword light was the same terrifying method that had killed many demon race masters in the heavenly punishment world. It had also broken open the heavenly punishment world. Since it's derived from the origin of laws, then this sword will be called the origin of sky-killing sword. Du Xiaofu muttered as he stared at the sharp sword light in the sky with a burning gaze and said, Chapter 2855. This technique was something he had comprehended recently. It was derived from the power of the origin of laws. It condensed all the laws in the world into one sword. Du Xiaofu had experienced its absolute power before. It was absolutely terrifying, far surpassing all the techniques he had mastered in the past. He was confident that with this unique technique, he could resist an expert at 5th sky of Immortal Realm or even 6th sky of Immortal Realm. The strength of the virtual path realm could be seen from this. As for the origin of the two words, Void Tao, it was probably because it could naturally produce Tao rhymes. Now I just lack a suitable weapon, Du Xiaofu murmured. Then he took out the heavenly purple gold fault and placed it on his knees. This broadsword had followed him for many years, but it could no longer match his cultivation base. Its level was a little low. Whether it was the Dragon Yang sword of the Yuqing Divine Kingdom's country guarding Imperial Seal or the upper-grade Law True Weapon Nirvana Dragon Sword, they were all much stronger than the heavenly purple gold fault. However, Du Xiaofu had yet to refine those two swords to use for himself. Heavenly purple gold fault. You have followed me for many years. I really can't bear to give it up. Du Xiaofu stroked the broadsword's body gently as if he was caressing his child. He didn't want to give up the heavenly purple gold fault, but he still lacked a lot of opportunities and materials to upgrade it again. However, he wanted to try and let the heavenly purple gold fault devour the upper-grade Law True Weapon Nirvana Dragon Sword to upgrade it. However, this process was very risky. After all, it was an upper-grade Law True Weapon. If he wasn't careful, it wouldn't be the Nirvana Dragon Sword that was devoured, but the heavenly purple gold fault. In the end, I still have to take this step. With my current realm, it should be very difficult to suppress an upper-grade Law True Weapon. Du Xiaofu thought. He planned to use the heavenly purple gold fault to devour the Nirvana Dragon Sword. Time flew by in the ancient desolate space. Unknowingly, 100 years had passed, but in the outside world, only a few years had passed. Most likely, The disciples of the various forces were still pursuing the remaining demons and were still quite a distance away from the deepest part of the fiend god battlefield. After so many years of recovery, Du Xiaofu had already reached his peak state. After breaking through, he felt as if his entire body was filled with a boundless mysterious power, manifesting the ultimate source power of the world's laws. He took a peek at the outside world and found that things were no different from what he had expected. There weren't many changes. After that, Du Xiaofu went into seclusion again. Purple Gold Heavenly Palace, go. Du Xiaofu let out a soft shout, and the broadsword on his knees flew up into the sky in response. Buzz, a loud rumbling sound spread out, and the entire desolate ancient space was filled with buzzing sounds. Roar, goo, screech. Immediately, a ray of light rushed out from the purple gold heavenly palace, turning into the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. They coiled in the air, filled with a fierce aura. This broadsword was originally very extraordinary. In the past, after being refined by Du Xiaofu time and time again, it could be considered as a divine artifact now, and its power was not weak. Nirvana Dragon, go. Du Xiaofu waved his hand again, and a long sword engraved with dragon patterns flew up, standing side by side with the purple gold heavenly palace in the void. On the sword, the golden dragon coiled around like a living creature. Faintly, one could hear the roar of the dragon, which made one's scalp tingle. Now that Du Xiaofu's realm had increased greatly, he felt that this long sword was even more terrifying. The upper-grade law true weapon was indeed extraordinary. If it wasn't for the fact that the Tsangming Divine Kingdom's great prince only had the cultivation base of true severing perfection, it would have been extremely difficult for Du Xiaofu to snatch this sword even if it was controlled by an immortal powerhouse. The so-called law true weapon was condensed with the power of law. Only an immortal realm expert could refine it. A high-grade law true weapon was even more terrifying. Only a high-level immortal realm expert, such as the 7th, 8th, or even 9th heavens, had the strength to refine it. Du Xiaofu asked himself. Although his strength had increased greatly, it would still be very difficult for him to face such a terrifying existence. Start. Without thinking too much, Du Xiaofu shouted and controlled the purple gold heavenly palace to move. In the sky, the 4 divine beast phantoms moved together, slowly approaching the Nirvana dragon sword step by step. Oh, as if it felt something, the Nirvana dragon sword began to tremble violently. Terrifying dragon roars shook the sky, shaking the ancient desolate space. True weapons had spirits, so they could sense potential danger and took the initiative to defend themselves. A fierce light of law burst out from the Nirvana dragon sword and spread out like a tide, forming a shuttle-shaped barrier that covered the entire sword. The aura of the purple gold heavenly palace was blocked outside. This weapon's soul is quite smart. It didn't take the initiative to attack. Does it know that I will attack? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows slightly and murmured. Generally speaking, weapons of extraordinary quality had their own weapon souls. The purple gold heavenly palace also had one. In the past, it had devoured many weapons, including the soul of an immemorial saint weapon. It was because of this characteristic that Du Xiaofu decided to use the purple gold heavenly palace to refine the Nirvana dragon sword. But obviously, the Nirvana dragon sword's intelligence was very high. If it was out of its master's control, it had a chance to give birth to its own life and turn into a demon spirit. Purple gold heavenly palace, break for me. Du Xiaofu suddenly roared, and the power in his body surged out and poured into the purple gold heavenly palace. In an instant, the broadsword released a bright light, and the power of law crazily rose. The phantoms of the 4 divine beasts let out a series of roars. Buzz buzz. The power of law origin swirled and finally converged into the purple gold heavenly palace, giving it an indescribable charm. A terrifying sword aura took shape and suddenly slashed down at the Nirvana dragon sword. This sword aura was extremely sharp, and there was a Tao rhythm circulating on it. A mighty force surged. When it hit the barrier outside the Nirvana dragon sword, the sharp aura was vast and mighty, instantly cutting it open. However, this was not the power of the purple gold heavenly palace, but Du Xiaofu's law origin. Don't hide, come out and fight. These words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. He controlled the purple gold heavenly palace and pressed down on the Nirvana dragon sword step by step. If he wanted the purple gold heavenly palace to devour the Nirvana dragon sword, he had to force the sword's soul out and then devour it. Only then would he be able to devour it. You dare to challenge me with just a divine weapon? A dignified voice came from the Nirvana dragon sword, revealing an extremely domineering aura. However, the sword's soul did not appear. Instead, the dragon patterns on the sword's body became brighter and brighter. The dragon's roar shook heaven and earth, and a powerful aura surged. A terrifying sword ray swallowed and spat out, directly meeting the purple gold heavenly palace. You still want to hide? Do you think you can hide? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows, and the power in his body circulated again, entering the purple gold heavenly palace. The broadsword let out a cheerful cry as it brazenly struck down. Chi, the two sword rays suddenly collided, and a terrifying power erupted, as if the heavens were going to punish the earth. When the sword rays exploded, countless sword shadows appeared in the void. They flew in all directions, surging in all directions and piercing through the void. This scene was extremely terrifying. The world seemed to be boiling, and a storm of astral swords swept up in the ancient desolate space. Suppress! Du Xiaofu's body stepped into the air, and his palms slammed down without any fluctuations, directly imprinting on the Nirvana dragon sword's body, emitting a ding sound. This high-grade law true treasure was sent flying, and the sword's body trembled as if it was about to shatter. I am the king of this ancient desolate space. Even if you want to hide, where can you hide? Be straightforward, come out and accept my challenge. Du Xiaofu said in a deep voice and quickly chased over. The power in his body was vast and mighty, binding the Nirvana dragon sword within it. At the same time, the purple gold heavenly palace arrived once again, brazenly slashing down. Roar! The Nirvana dragon sword's dragon roars resounded, breaking the void. The dragon engraved on the sword's body emitted a dazzling light, and a domineering aura spread out from it. Finally willing to come out? Seeing this scene, the corners of Du Xiaofu's mouth couldn't help but curl up into a smile. Under his coercion, the artifact soul was finally willing to leave the sword's body and face the purple gold heavenly palace head-on. He knew that this was because he had grasped the power of the ancient desolate space, and the power of the source of laws was also fierce. Even if the other party wanted to hide, it couldn't hide forever. Roar! Under Du Xiaofu's gaze, the golden light slowly dissipated, revealing the body of a golden dragon that was tens of thousands of feet long. It coiled in the void, looking up at Du Xiaofu and the purple gold heavenly palace. Human, forcing me out is courting death. The golden dragon spoke in human language, and its pair of fierce eyes moved, carrying an incomparably dignified aura. As the artifact soul of a high-grade law true treasure, its strength was absolutely formidable after transforming into a golden dragon. We still don't know who will die. Come and fight. Du Xiaofu's face became solemn. Forcing out the artifact soul was only the first step. What came next was the true key. Whether the Nirvana dragon sword would be swallowed or the purple gold heavenly palace would be turned into scrap, it was likely that it would only take a single thought. Even now, Du Xiaofu still wasn't certain just how strong the artifact soul of a high-grade law true treasure was, and whether or not he could suppress it was still unknown. Human, prepare to die. The golden dragon roared, and a tyrannical strength surged out, causing a great tremor. Large amounts of law patterns began to weave in the void, and a terrifying source strength seeped out. It was even stronger than what Du Xiaofu had displayed. The golden dragon moved, its body twisting and coiling, wrapping around the purple gold heavenly palace and the purple robe youth, as if it wanted to erase both of them at the same time. As expected of a high-grade law true treasure, the power of this artifact soul is also formidable. Du Xiaofu was secretly speechless. Just in terms of the density of his law origins, he really couldn't compare to this high-grade law true treasure's artifact soul. However, he was also fearless. Since he was going to fight, how could he retreat? As he spoke, Du Xiaofu moved. He took a step forward in the void, and at the same time, he mobilized the power of the ancient desolate space, stirring up an invisible force that suppressed the artifact soul. I was afraid you wouldn't come out. Since you've come out, then even if you're a dragon, you'll still have to obediently coil up for me. Du Xiaofu's palm swept through the air, bringing with it a tyrannical power that swept down, causing the entire ancient desolate space to tremble. This power crazily squeezed, all of it pressing down on the artifact soul. Under the assault of the ancient desolate space's power, the Nirvana dragon artifact soul was like a withered tree in a gale, its body swaying unsteadily. The terrifying power struck its body, causing the golden dragon's body to rapidly dim. A large number of dragon scales exploded, turning into pure law patterns that fluttered in the void. Roar! Waves of dragon roars pierced through the air, as if wanting to tear the heavens and earth apart. Human, you want to suppress me? Don't even think about it. This space is under your control, and there's something special about it that makes it difficult for me to resist. But if you're bent on using this artifact to devour me, then let's have a life and death struggle. The golden dragon roared again and again, saying such words. The power of the origin of laws in its body boiled incessantly, trying its best to cut open a trace of Du Xiaofu's seal. Then, it suddenly rushed into the heavenly amethyst palace. The show is about to begin. Looking at this scene, Du Xiaofu's heart sank slightly. He had to draw out the Nirvana dragon artifact soul, then let it enter the heavenly amethyst palace, and then carry out the final suppression, allowing the artifact soul to devour it. Only then could he achieve his goal. If he had been able to completely suppress it in the ancient desolate space, it would have been extremely easy for him to devour it later. However, Du Xiaofu did not dare to force it too much. If it caused the golden dragon to self-destruct, then all his previous efforts would be for naught. This step could be considered as within his expectations. Roar! As Du Xiaofu muttered, he also let out an earth-shaking roar from his throat. The huge scarlet horse monkey primordial spirit crossed the sky and took a step forward, entering the heavenly amethyst palace's space. After the golden dragon artifact soul entered, its entire body erupted with an incomparably terrifying sharpness. Tens of thousands of light swords shook the sky and poured down like a rain of swords, wreaking havoc in the heavenly amethyst palace's space. If you want to devour me, then I'll destroy this artifact of yours first. The golden dragon roared and crazily circulated its power, constantly sprinkling sword light. It knew that the Nirvana dragon sword had fallen into the purple-robed youth's hands, and it had long been unable to escape. If it was simply being refined, the golden dragon artifact soul would not be so crazy. However, the human actually wanted to let a divine artifact devour it. This was absolutely intolerable. Therefore, after it entered the space of the sword body, the first thing it wanted to do was to destroy the artifact soul of this divine artifact. Not far away, an artifact soul of the same shape as the broadsword outside was entrenched. The golden dragon's rain of swords was aimed at that spot. Kill! The golden dragon body that was formed by the artifact soul roared. Its eyes were like swords, overbearing and majestic, and there were strange patterns of law spreading out from its eyes. Suddenly, the space trembled strangely with a mysterious force, completely distorting the space. This energy was too terrifying. The golden dragon phantom strangely appeared in front of the heavenly amethyst palace's artifact soul at the same time. It opened its ferocious mouth and spewed out sword light, distorting the space and destroying everything. At this moment, the heavenly amethyst palace's artifact soul was imprisoned for no reason. The space was sealed, and there was a mysterious force binding it. Roar! At the same time, a beam of dazzling golden light appeared. The strange energy of the confined space could not stop it, and it turned into a huge golden ape. Its body was wrapped in golden patterns of laws, and it was full of vitality. It gave people the feeling of the beginning of the world and the beginning of all things, as if it could penetrate the essence of all laws. Subdue! The golden ape shouted. Its eyes sparkled as if it was born with spiritual eyes that could overlook everything. Its terrifying aura burst out. It swung its arm and punched, which seemed to be able to sweep away everything and suppress everything. It directly attacked the golden dragon artifact soul. It was Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. The red sparrow horse monkey's body had entered the space of the heavenly amethyst palace. Boom! Boom! The punch of the red sparrow horse monkey's primordial spirit had a strange energy that could ignore the former's strange energy that had affected the space. It directly pushed the strange sword light away. The soul of this upper-grade true weapon of law was intimidating. It could generate the intimidating power of the origin of law. Its power could be compared to an ordinary seventh sky of immortal realm expert. Moreover, with its strange energy, it was hard to deal with. However, Du Xiaofu's red sparrow horse monkey's primordial spirit wasn't weaker than his body. Even the soul of the upper-grade true weapon of law couldn't resist it. More importantly, when Du Xiaofu generated the origin of law, he also had the Tao attainments. With this, he could narrow the gap between the two of them. It's just so. Du Xiaofu furrowed his brows and said. He urged the power of the origin of law and used the Tao attainments to subdue the power of the gold dragon's soul. It was a protracted battle. Du Xiaofu's power was stronger than the gold dragon's soul. However, in terms of vastness, he wasn't as strong as the dragon artifact soul. After a long time, the two of them had maintained a delicate balance. For the time being, they couldn't do anything to the other. Human, you want to refine me? Don't even think about it. The gold dragon's soul roared angrily. It was extremely angry. He was tightly bound in this space and couldn't escape to the outside world. Even if he wanted to kill the artifact's artifact soul, he couldn't do it. You will either be obliterated and suppressed, or be refined and devoured obediently. There is no third option. But I know you'll choose the former. Let's continue like this. Let's see who can outlast the other. Du Xiaofu sneered. At this point, he wasn't worried at all. Under the suppression of the four great original laws and the ferocious Tao attainments, the gold dragon's defeat was just a matter of time. Indeed, after a long time, the power of the gold dragon's soul finally reached a critical point and began to weaken. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Du Xiaofu moved with all his might, exerting almost all of his strength to suppress his opponent. Chapter 2856. As the power of the golden dragon artifact soul was gradually weakened, the purple gold law patterns on the heavenly palace of purple gold burst out with a dazzling light, forming a purple gold spatial vortex. A fiendish aura swept out like a hurricane, accompanied by the cries of ghosts and howls of gods. The light was dazzling, containing the might of dragons and tigers and the aura of phoenixes. This terrifying fiendish aura was enough to directly shatter all souls. The heavenly palace of purple gold erupted with the might of a peerless weapon. The terrifying fiendish aura crazily rippled, swallowing the energy of heaven and earth in the outside world. It also directly swallowed the golden dragon's body, crazily absorbing its energy. At this moment, the heavenly palace of purple gold could also see the situation between Du Xiaofu and the golden dragon artifact soul. With the addition of Du Xiaofu, the situation immediately became one-sided. The golden dragon artifact soul roared, turning pale with fright. Sword light burst out, twisting the void. It was actually about to break free from the heavenly palace of purple gold. The redbone horse monkey's Yuan spirit roared and leaped into the air, instantly transforming into a golden five-fingered mountain peak. Large amounts of law origins were born and evolved, and dense spiritual chi spread out, connecting with the energy of the heavens and earth. Pressure rolled out like a long rainbow, like a supreme being that could crush and suppress all things in the world. Suppress. The five golden mountain peaks pressed down on the golden dragon's body. Golden law runes spread out all over the sky, constantly evolving like a sea of golden light. Roar! The golden dragon roared, wanting to break free. The surrounding space was distorted, but it couldn't affect the five-fingered golden mountain. It was firmly suppressed, and fear finally appeared in the eyes of the swordlight. Walala! The heavenly palace of purple gold's artifact soul roared, surging with a crazy devouring power. Accompanied by the cries of ghosts and gods, and the roars of dragons and tigers, it swallowed and refined the energy of the golden dragon's body, taking it for its own. Du Xiaofu didn't dare to move. He only stared at the heavenly palace of purple gold and the Nirvana dragon sword's artifact soul. At the same time, the power in his body surged, all used to suppress the golden dragon artifact soul. Looks like this process will be very long. Du Xiaofu murmured in his heart. It would take a long time for the heavenly purple gold tower to completely devour the power of the Nirvana dragon sword. And before the broadsword's power surpassed the golden dragon artifact soul, he had to keep suppressing it. Otherwise, it might cause a backlash and turn the heavenly palace of purple gold into a piece of scrap metal. If that was the case, the losses would outweigh the gains. I wonder what the situation outside is like. While suppressing the golden dragon artifact soul, Du Xiaofu was still thinking about the fiend god battlefield. After breaking through to the Void Dao realm, if the young disciples of the transcendent Changrong heaven were not led by him and encountered a large number of devils, the outcome would not be optimistic. However, right now, the violet gold heavenly palace was also at a critical moment, so he could not interfere with the outside world. These questions were quickly suppressed by him. Du Xiaofu began to focus on assisting the heavenly purple gold tower in devouring the Nirvana dragon sword's artifact soul. He had to finish this matter as soon as possible so that he could go out and deal with the demon race. At the same time, Du Xiaofu was somewhat expectant. He wanted to see what grade the heavenly purple gold tower would reach after the final success. In the desolate ancient space, time quickly passed. In the blink of an eye, several years had passed. Finally, the terrifying fiendish aura in the heavenly purple gold tower's space suppressed the golden dragon's domineering aura by a bit, breaking the balance between the two. Du Xiaofu waited patiently until the heavenly purple gold tower's artifact soul gained an overwhelming advantage. Only then did he let out a long sigh of relief and withdraw his power, allowing the heavenly purple gold tower to freely devour it. He had also consumed a lot of energy, but he still revealed a knowing smile. Soon after, Du Xiaofu's scarlet horse monkey soul withdrew from the sword space and returned to his own body. In the desolate ancient space, the Nirvana dragon sword's body and the heavenly purple gold tower's body were facing each other. Both of their auras were restrained and there were no fluctuations. However, Du Xiaofu knew that as the heavenly purple gold tower continued to devour, the Nirvana dragon sword's body would also be devoured and digested, turning this artifact that represented the crown prince of the Tsangming divine kingdom into a piece of scrap metal. It's time to go out and take a look. Du Xiaofu didn't pay too much attention to the two swords. He sat cross-legged and recovered for a long time. When he reached his peak state, he directly left the desolate ancient space and came to the outside world. At this time, many young disciples from the transcendent Changrong heaven had already entered the depths of the celestial demon battlefield. Many years had passed and they couldn't tell how much distance they had traveled. "Brother Du, you've fully recovered?" Seeing Du Xiaofu appear, Xiao Yun, Yu Qiyan, Ting Yuanshan, Zhang Haoren and the others asked with joy. "How have you been recently?" Du Xiaofu nodded and then asked Su Mo Yen, Qi Yuan Lin, Lian Kaiyun, Xiao Yun and the others. "We've been chasing the remaining demons for the past few years and have almost wiped them out. There are only a few dozen complete true severing stage experts left and they're still running." Xiao Yun thought for a moment and then said to Du Xiaofu, "Actually, it's not that we can't kill those demons. We just want them to lead the way and find Dongli Qihuang and Shen Yan." Su Mo Yen took over the conversation and said with a smile, "That's good." Du Xiaofu nodded, very satisfied with their actions. His ultimate goal was still to find Jiangchen. Presumably, only Dongli Qihuang and Shen Yan knew of Jiangchen's whereabouts. And if he chased after the demons, he should have a chance to find the final nest of the demons. However, we've also lost a lot of people. We originally had 1 million people, but now we don't even have 800,000 left. Lian Saiyun's beautiful face was somewhat gloomy. The loss of more than 200,000 people was already very large, and it was enough to cause a certain amount of damage to the various large forces. Fortunately, the demons had lost even more people. In their defeat, almost all of them had been killed. The demons are rampant without restraint. If they are allowed to wreak havoc, not to mention us, I'm afraid that the entire 33 heavens will not be peaceful. Since it's a battle, there will definitely be deaths and injuries. This is unavoidable, Qi Yuanlin said with a slight frown. When the others heard this, they were silent and only nodded. Then, no one said anything. They lowered their heads and walked forward, following behind the fleeing demons as if they were going to do their best to kill them. Not long after, Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows slightly. This was because the surrounding area and the path they were taking gave him a sense of familiarity. After thinking about it, he finally confirmed one thing. If I'm not wrong, the direction we are heading towards should lead to a place called the Gate of Hell. Du Xiaofu said to the people around him. Gate of Hell? Where is that? Many people were puzzled. At the same time, Su Mo Yen, Lian Kaiyun and the others' eyes all narrowed. Previously, we received this information from a few demons who were alone. Now, it seems that the Gate of Hell really exists. Su Mo Yen frowned and said softly. That's right. The reason why Du Xiaofu felt that this was somewhat familiar was because he had once searched the primordial spirit of a demon clan elite and understood many things. From the memories of that demon clan elite, he knew that there were some very terrifying places in the celestial demon battlefield. The Blood Sea was one of them, and so was the Gate of Hell. According to what he knew, no demons had gone there to investigate. No one knew what kind of place it was and what kind of terrifying things existed there. The Gate of Hell should be an even more terrifying place. We must be careful, Du Xiaofu warned in a serious tone. He faintly felt that it was definitely a place even more terrifying than the ancient ruins. It won't be long before we reach it. When we get close, we must immediately get rid of the demons in front. Xiao Yun's white robe fluttered slightly as a fierce killing intent condensed in his eyes. Let's go! The group did not speak anymore and did their best to chase after the true Severing Realm elites of the demon clan. The deeper they went into the celestial demon battlefield, the more Du Xiaofu and the others felt that the evil qi was flourishing. The terrifying smell of blood filled every inch of the space. Gusts of cold wind whistled and blew on their bodies. It was as if evil spirits were circling around their bodies, causing their scalps to go numb and goosebumps to appear all over their bodies. In this ancient battlefield, there were countless dead souls. After the accumulation of countless years, the entire space was as terrifying as the Death Realm. Everyone went forward against this terrifying aura. Fortunately, those who came here were all elites. They were at least in the early stage of the true Severing Realm and did not have to worry about the evil qi invading their bodies. I'm afraid we are about to reach it. The vast and boundless area flashed by until one day, Du Xiaofu suddenly narrowed his eyes and said to the people around him. His cultivation was higher than everyone else's and he had sensed some things earlier than them. Under the prying of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit, a terrifying bloody aura surged endlessly tens of millions of miles away, like a roaring river. This kind of situation was many times more intense than other places. Even though they were far away, Du Xiaofu felt a chill run down his spine. If you are sure, we can get rid of these demons who are leading the way now, Su Mo said as he looked at Du Xiaofu. Get rid of them. Leaving them alive will only cause trouble. Du Xiaofu nodded and then stretched out a hand and suddenly slapped the void. Voila! The four primitive rules intertwined and twisted, producing a portion of origin energy. It turned into a huge palm print that was like the dome of the sky and directly slapped out. This palm print flew through the air and in the blink of an eye, it crossed tens of thousands of miles and sealed the void. In an instant, it hit more than 10 true Severing Realm elites of the demon race. Bang bang bang, a series of explosions resounded. Those who were swept by the palm print were instantly turned into dust and died a violent death. Is this the strength of the Empty Path Realm? Su Mo Yen, Qi Yuanlin, Lian Kain, Xiao Yun, Yu Qingyan and the others were all shocked when they saw this scene. Their eyes were filled with horror. They knew that the Empty Path realm was very strong, but they did not expect it to be so strong. Du Xiaofu had only used a simple move to kill more than 10 demons from tens of thousands of miles away. This was really hard to believe. Such a terrifying ability, even a fifth sky of the immortal realm would not be able to do it. Now that Brother Du has become so strong, I am afraid that I will never be able to catch up to him in this lifetime. The corners of Xiao Yun's mouth couldn't help but curl into a bitter smile. When he first met Du Xiaofu, he still wanted to fight Du Xiaofu one day and find out the gap between them. But who would have thought that this guy was really too abnormal? His growth speed was completely beyond imagination. His realm didn't look like it came from cultivation at all. It was like he was flying. Xiao Yun sighed in his heart. It seemed that he could not fight with Du Xiaofu unless he was itching to be beaten up one day. In fact, it was not only Xiao Yun. Yu Qingyan, Yu Qingyao, Ting Yuanshan, Zhang Haoren, Meng Dongyang and many other disciples of the Yuqing Divine Kingdom all sighed in their hearts. Many of them were at the same realm as Du Xiaofu, or even much higher. But in just a short time, he had left them far behind. Let's make a move together and end this quickly. In comparison, Su Mo Yen, Qi Yuan Lin, Lian Kaiyun and the others did not have such deep feelings. They were only shocked by Du Xiaofu's strength. Under the lead of the holy sons and holy daughters, the remaining experts all rushed out and began to kill the remaining true severing complete stage experts of the demon race. This was a one-sided massacre. With Du Xiaofu's deterrence, although the demon race fled for their lives, they were quickly wiped out and not a single one was left. After this final pursuit, many people also began to feel the terrifying aura in front of them. The bloody and murderous aura spread over, causing everyone's hearts to tremble for no reason. However, no one retreated. All of them rushed towards the final destination. Is that the gates of hell? The distance of thousands of miles quickly passed by. The many young disciples of the transcendent Changrong sky arrived at a strange place. A scene that shocked every young expert appeared in front of them. In the void, a huge blood-red ball of light appeared. It was unknown how many tens of thousands of miles in size it was. Waves of desolate and ancient aura rippled out from it, causing everyone to feel as if they were in the primordial wilderness. Under the cover of this aura, everyone seemed to have some illusions in front of their eyes. It was as if they had returned to the primitive era of life. Images of majestic gods and demons appeared in front of their eyes. Every majestic body was indomitable and looked down on the common people. The gods and demons swept their eyes lightly, and the void was destroyed, turning into chaos. With a light raise of their hands, time and space rotated, and the world collapsed. As their chests rose and fell, it was accompanied by the sound of thunder that filled the sky like drums, and the world shook. This scene was too terrifying. It was simply not something that ordinary people could imagine. It caused these young experts to be intoxicated. After the fiend god's figure disappeared, another large wave of images surged towards them like a tidal wave. Within it, thousands of soldiers and horses galloped, trampling the stars and destroying the mortal world. On the bodies of these thousands of soldiers and horses, there was an earth-shattering bloody aura of slaughter. It caused the entire sky to be dyed scarlet, as if it had been soaked in blood. This aura of slaughter was too vast, and it caused the sky to shake and the earth to tremble. All the young experts felt as if they'd arrived at the scene themselves, and they felt as if they would be crushed at any moment and transformed into a bloody mist, causing the aura of blood to become even denser. Because they were already mentally prepared, all of them circulating the energy in their bodies, so no one really lost their minds because of this aura. The group of young experts all stared at the huge blood-red ball of light with burning eyes, their eyes filled with shock. There shouldn't be any mistake. This should be the gates of hell. Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered as he looked at the huge blood-red ball of light. The movement of the ball of light caused everyone to tremble, but at the same time, it also aroused Du Xiaofu's strong curiosity. The things in the celestial demon battlefield were all left behind from ancient times. Perhaps there was some big secret hidden in this ball of light. This place is very scary. It is definitely accompanied by great danger. Sumo's eyes were serious as he spoke softly. Even with his cultivation, he deeply felt that just by standing outside, his spiritual soul could not help but tremble. It was even more so for those who were relatively weaker. If he rashly led everyone in, he was afraid that he would lose a large number of people. A portion of us will go in and the rest will stay outside to guard. According to my estimates, there will definitely be a large number of demons nearby. We must be careful and defend. Du Xiaofu turned his head and looked at the leaders of the various forces as he spoke. It was not realistic for everyone to enter together. If they forced it, it would only cause unnecessary casualties. Then we will do as Brother Du says. The holy sons and holy maidens of the various holy lands will enter. Everyone else will stay outside. Xiao Yun thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. For the sake of safety, those who stay behind will form a formation in advance. Prepare your defenses well. We must take precautions. Du Xiaofu looked again at Ting Yuanshan, Zhang Haoran, Meng Dongyang, Yu Qiyan, Yu Qingyao and the rest as he solemnly instructed. No one knew how many demon tribe experts were outside. If a large number of immortal realm experts appeared, the hundreds of thousands of young disciples would not be enough to survive. It is decided. Everyone will be deployed together. No one is to disobey orders. Su Moyan and the others discussed for a while and chose a few leaders. Then, without further delay, they rushed directly into the huge blood-red light ball with Du Xiaofu. About half of the 35 holy lands of Changrong Sky were present. Including Du Xiaofu, there were about 20 people. This kind of force was not weak. However, if they had to face so many demon tribe experts, they would definitely be stretched thin. However, everyone wanted to enter the ball of light and explore. They wanted to see what kind of things existed in the gates of hell and how terrifying it was. The demon tribe had slaughtered the 33 heavens in the ancient times and slaughtered countless lives. This time, they wanted to make a comeback and no one dared to let their guard down. However, no matter what kind of scheme they had, as disciples of the 33 heavens, they could not retreat. Only by entering and exploring and understanding more secrets would they be able to deal with it calmly. Chapter 2857. When Du Xiaofu and the rest entered the blood-red light, they entered another space. It was a dark and cold place, vast and boundless. There was no blue sky above their heads and no thick earth below their feet. Everyone was suspended in the empty space. As far as the eye could see, there were stars revolving and floating, and there were also small streams of spatial turbulence whizzing about. This is the crevice of the worlds? Su Mo Yen frowned as he looked around and said, "It is similar to the crevice of the worlds, but there are some differences." Xiao Yun was also puzzled. After they entered, they did not sense any terrifying aura. This puzzled everyone. It is similar to the crevice of the worlds, but it is definitely not as simple as the crevice of the worlds. Du Xiaofu squinted his eyes and continuously used his primordial spirit to check the surroundings. Under his observation, there were countless stars around them, some even emitting light and heat. However, these stars were all dead silent and covered with rocks. They were not like the stars in the 33 heavens, where some were small worlds that were full of life. Simply put, Du Xiaofu looked around, and what he sensed with his primordial spirit was a void of life. Although there is no life in this space, I feel that this place is not ordinary. Perhaps there is a great secret hidden here. Qi Yuanlin said softly. Not only him, everyone who stood in the empty space could feel the existence of a special fluctuation. This fluctuation was very strange and they could not see through it. They could vaguely feel that the countless stars were moving in a strange path, forming a mysterious order, as if they were sealing something. The blood-red light that we entered has disappeared. I don't know how to return to the divinity and demon battlefield. Lien Sayun's red lips opened slightly and said solemnly. Behind them, the gates of hell had long disappeared. They did not know where they were and where the way back was. Don't think about leaving first, let's check it out first. Du Xiaofu was silent for a moment before he said, "Since that blood-red ball of light is called Hell's Gate, is it possible that we are in hell right now?" Many experts were stunned. They had never thought of this possibility before. But everyone knew that the legend of the 18 levels of hell had been passed down through the 33 heavens. According to rumors, that place was a land of death without any life force. It was full of blood and slaughter, and evil energy pervaded the air. However, the surroundings did not look like what the legend said. Besides the dead silence of the stars, there was nothing special about it. There was no shadow of hell. That's not impossible. Perhaps we really are in the 18th level of hell. Xiao Yun thought for a moment and said solemnly. Regarding the 18 layers of hell, everyone's knowledge was very limited. No one could clearly describe what kind of existence it was. After all, everything came from legends. The dead stars in the sky look very ancient and desolate. The trajectory of each star seems to be weaving some kind of invisible force, making it difficult for people to see through. Du Xiaofu did not think too much about it and used all his strength to look around. Moreover, he began to move in the starry sky. When everyone saw this, they also followed. The speed of the group was extremely fast. Countless large stars filled with gravel swept past their bodies. I wonder if the two from the demon clan are here. How are we going to find them? Su Mo Yen said as he followed Du Xiaofu. They had come here to find out the roots of the demon clan. However, if they lost the tracks of Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan, they would not be able to talk about anything. This star was very vast. If they simply passed through it, it would take a long time. They must be here. Let's search carefully. Du Xiaofu said softly. After that, he did not say anything else and only focused on observing the starry sky. As they traveled for a long time, Du Xiaofu found out more and more things. At the same time, Du Xiaofu was more and more shocked in his heart. He discovered that as all the stars in the starry sky revolved, the boundless power was all slowly gathering in one direction. If not for careful observation, this situation would be very difficult to sense. In such a vast starry sky, countless dead stars, all the power gathered together. What kind of terrifying power is that? Du Xiaofu was shocked and secretly speechless. Now that he had broken through to the virtual path realm, the range of his primordial spirit's detection was no longer the same as before. However, even so, he was still far from being able to touch the edge of the starry sky. He did not know how big it was. He could imagine that this was definitely a place that was more boundless than any of the 33 heavens. The power released by the entire starry sky when the stars revolved was so great that Du Xiaofu could not imagine it. At the very least, he knew that even a seated oblivion expert who had touched the Grand Tao was unable to completely destroy a Grand Tao. The final result of the Grand Tao was a world. Destroying a Grand Tao was equivalent to shaking the Grand Tao. It was absolutely impossible, unless there really was an existence at the Path Realm. At that height, perhaps it was possible to accomplish this. Everyone flew through the void at high speed, searching carefully but to no avail. Over 10 experts were like headless flies, and every single one of them had a trace of confusion in their hearts. There's someone here. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu had a thought, and his eyes narrowed as he looked towards a certain direction. There, he sensed the fluctuations of some living beings, and they were rapidly moving towards their direction. Not long after, Su Mo Yen, Qiyuan Lin, Lian Kaiyun, Xiao Yun, and the others noticed this as well. Dongli Qihuang, Chen Yan. When everyone sensed it, Du Xiaofu had already clearly understood the identity of the newcomers. He had never imagined that it would actually be Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. Is it them? Let's go and take a look. Su Mo Yan's eyes narrowed as he took the lead and rushed towards the opposite side. The two of them only cared about escaping previously, and now they actually dare to appear directly in front of us. I'm afraid that they have something to rely on. We must be careful. Qiyuan Lin said solemnly, but his speed did not slow down at all. The people of the demon clan, no matter what methods they have, let's take them on. Xiao Yun snorted coldly and said. He naturally knew that the demon clan was powerful, but things had already come to this point. Everyone had already come to this starry sky and there was no other way out. Other than facing the demon clan head-on, there was no other choice. Du Xiaofu was silent as he led the group forward, flying in the direction of Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. The two groups of people moved towards each other, and after a long time, they finally gathered in one place. TSK 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 TSK? Du Xiaofu, I didn't expect you to be so bold, actually daring to enter the gates of hell. Aren't you afraid that you won't be able to return? Dongli Qihuang's handsome face was ferocious as he looked at Du Xiaofu and said in a fierce voice. His blood-red robe fluttered in the void, releasing a terrifying bloody aura that frightened people just by looking at it. The ones who should be hiding are you two. Just the two of you, and you dare to appear in front of me alone? It seems like the ones who are seeking death are you too. Du Xiaofu met Dongli Qihuang's gaze and said coldly. However, at the same time, he couldn't suppress his astonishment. That was because he could feel that the auras of the two opposite of him had reached their peak. Moreover, compared to the time when he had fought with them, they had obviously improved. They had reached the second sky of Immortal Realm. Du Xiaofu couldn't calm down. How long had it been since he last saw them? He couldn't imagine what it meant for the two of them to improve like that. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan were members of the demon clan. What kind of status and position did they have? How could they improve so fast? Harumph! Du Xiaofu's words made Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan's faces cold. He snorted and then said, Du Xiaofu, don't be complacent. You've just reached the virtual path realm. Do you really think that you're invincible? Wait until the two of us recover to our peak condition. Killing you will be as easy as slaughtering a dog. As Dongli Qihuang spoke, her entire face was scrunched up into a ball, brimming with endless hatred. They had suffered a lot in Du Xiaofu's hands, and they couldn't let go of it. Really? Du Xiaofu's voice deepened as he said coldly, if so, I'm going to subdue you now. Let's see how you two can recover to your peak condition. As soon as he finished speaking, his entire body instantly flew out, and his palm lay horizontally across space. Terrifying quintessence energy of the laws surged into appearance, and it transformed into a vast and enormous net that enveloped down towards the eastern flame Scarlet Phoenix and Chen Yan. The terrifying aura swept out and spread out. Countless dead stars in the surroundings were trembling under this power. Waves of Taoist rhymes circulated, evolving and transforming everything in the world. This power was too terrifying. In just a flash, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan felt the taste of death. They didn't think and immediately exerted all their strength to fight back. After all, they had reached the second sky of Immortal Realm. Their cultivation wasn't the same as before. Amidst the surging demon aura, the two of them resisted Du Xiaofu's attack. However, they spat out mouthfuls of blood at the same time. Their faces instantly darkened and became as pale as paper. How terrifying, kid! Chen Yan was shocked to the extreme. He could imagine how powerful Du Xiaofu was, but when he really faced him, he couldn't help but feel terrified. One had to know that Du Xiaofu had only casually struck out a blow without using any other techniques, yet he had almost crippled them. This was too terrifying. He and Dongli Qihuang were experts who had mastered two primitive laws. Even in the ancient times, they were extremely terrifying existences. I don't know what you're relying on, but if you want to be arrogant in front of me, I'm afraid you've found the wrong person. We've fought for many years in Shenwu world. When have you not been defeated by me? Du Xiaofu snorted coldly and suddenly burst out again. This time, he circulated his power and turned it into rays of light that spun around his body. His aura began to rise crazily, causing Su Emo, Qiyuanlin, Lian Qin, and the others to quickly retreat far away, not daring to get close. Wait! Chen Yan suddenly shouted when he saw that Du Xiaofu was about to attack again. Do you have anything else to say? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows and asked. Chen Yan raised his sleeve and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Then, he let out a long sigh of relief, and his complexion improved slightly. However, because of the attack just now, he had used up more than half of his power. If he allowed Du Xiaofu to attack again, he was afraid that he would really die without a burial place. Du Xiaofu, the two of us want to kill you. Moreover, if you were at your peak with your strength, you wouldn't be able to catch our attention at all. Chen Yen said softly and slowly, with a strong sense of unwillingness. However, he quickly suppressed this feeling and said to Du Xiaofu, "Didn't you want to find His Excellency? Come with us, His Excellency also wants to see you." Jiangchen? Du Xiaofu's eyes narrowed, and his heart began to palpitate uncontrollably. He really did want to see Jiangchen and confirm with his own eyes whether or not the His Excellency Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yen were referring to was the same Jiangchen of the past. "That's right, His Excellency wants to see you. He told us to come and take you there." Dongli Qihuang stepped forward and said with certainty. Then he changed the subject. "However, whether or not you meet him is still up to you. Don't blame us for not warning you. If His Excellency is angry, even 100 Du Xiaofu won't be enough to kill you." He gritted his teeth, his eyes flashing with a dilemma. As Du Xiaofu's enemy, he naturally hoped that Du Xiaofu would die as soon as possible and eliminate a huge threat to the demon race. If His Excellency was willing to take action, then no matter how strong Du Xiaofu was, he definitely wouldn't be able to kill His Excellency. However, at the same time, Dongli Qihuang was also very worried. After all, Du Xiaofu and His Excellency had a deep friendship in the past. Back then, because Du Xiaofu had saved him and Chen Yen, Dongli Qihuang owed Du Xiaofu a favor. Dongli Qihuang was afraid that His Excellency would care too much and refuse to kill Du Xiaofu. However, they'd come under His Excellency's orders and didn't dare disobey. Everything depended on Du Xiaofu's intentions. Who exactly is that Jiangchen? Su Mo Yen, Qiyuan Lin, Lian Kaiyun, Xiao Yun, and the others were extremely puzzled by Du Xiaofu's conversation. This wasn't the first time they'd heard Jiangchen's name from Du Xiaofu, Dongli Qihuang, and Qin Yan's mouths. For two demons to call him His Excellency, one could imagine that Jiangchen's status was definitely higher than theirs. They didn't know what kind of status he had in the demon race. "Alright, take me to see Jiangchen." Du Xiaofu didn't answer them, nor did he hesitate. He simply nodded and agreed. Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix and Chen Yen didn't reply, and they just glanced deeply at Du Xiaofu at the same time before silently turning around and leading the way ahead. "Let's go." Du Xiaofu waved his hand and led the other powerhouses to move together. He'd considered leaving everyone in this space and going alone, but after thinking about it, he couldn't be at ease. Jiangchen was the demon ancestor. Du Xiaofu was very certain of this, so this trip would definitely be accompanied by great risks. However, this space was also very strange. He didn't dare let his guard down. Everyone moved quickly. Star fields flashed past them one after another. During this process, Du Xiaofu kept thinking about a few things. Naturally, he hoped that Jiangchen was still the person he knew. He hoped that Jiangchen wouldn't plan to slaughter the 33 heavens just because he was the demon ancestor. He hoped that Jiangchen would recover his strength just to improve himself. However, Du Xiaofu also considered that Jiangchen would directly suppress him. If that happened, he was afraid that he'd really have to stand on the opposite side. Sigh. After a long time, Du Xiaofu let out a long sigh. Some things couldn't be changed by one's own will. No matter what the outcome was, he had to face it. He gradually gathered his thoughts and stopped thinking about it. He simply followed Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yen. The vast expanse of space stretched as far as the eye could see. They didn't know how far they'd walked. It seemed as if they were going to continue moving forward endlessly until they reached the end of the starry sky. However, on a certain day, Chen Yen and the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix suddenly turned around and flashed out swiftly, and they plunged into a nearby black hole. What trick are they playing now? Du Xiaofu frowned and said coldly. He looked at the place where the two had disappeared. It was a huge black hole vortex. A terrifying devouring power was emitted, as if it wanted to pull one's spiritual soul out of the body. It was incomparably terrifying. This black hole is also unusual. It's not a good place. Su Mo and the others were a little solemn. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yen had suddenly rushed in, causing them to be vigilant. Their cultivation was only at the complete true severing realm. Just standing far away from the black hole, everyone felt a terrifying aura. The power in their bodies surged endlessly, as if it was boiling. Their strength was greatly restricted. They're out again. Under everyone's gaze, not long after, two figures charged out of the black hole again and appeared before everyone. These two figures were Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan. However, when they reappeared, another dozen or so devilish figures followed them out. Du Xiaofu, it's true that His Excellency wants to see you, but don't think you'll see him so easily. Today, this place will be the place where you die. So long as you're dead, even if His Excellency punishes you, we won't hesitate. Dongli Qihuang stepped forward, facing Du Xiaofu as he spoke viciously. So it's just two idiots acting on their own. Du Xiaofu breathed a sigh of relief. He'd thought Jiang Chen had ordered the two of them to surround him. Who would have thought they just acted on their own accord? They didn't want him to see Jiang Chen, that's all. They wanted to kill him here. You want to suppress me? Then come and try. Du Xiaofu's gaze swept across the group, taking in the strength of the dozen or so individuals. They were all very strong. 4 were at the 7th sky of the immortal realm, 3 were at the 8th sky of the immortal realm, and 2 were even more terrifying. They were at the 9th sky of the immortal realm. A total of 9 high-level immortal realm experts stood tall, emanating a terrifying aura. Chapter 2858. Even Du Xiaofu felt that the situation was very serious at this time. He'd come for Jiang Chen, but Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan hadn't given up on killing him. Even though he'd arrived at the final destination, he still had to fight one last time. Needless to say, the huge black hole in the void was definitely an extraordinary place. Jiang Chen might be inside, but he was in a certain state and didn't know what was going on. Du Xiaofu, let's see how you'll survive today. Chen Yan snorted coldly. Then he waved his hand. The 9 high-level immortal realm experts beside him immediately charged towards Du Xiaofu. Everyone, enter the ancient barren space. Leave this to me. Du Xiaofu didn't hesitate at all. He opened the ancient barren space and took in Su Mo, Qi Yuanlin, Lian Qian, Xiao Yun, and more than a dozen true severing experts. Their cultivation levels weren't high enough. They couldn't participate in the upcoming battle. You're far from enough to kill me. After doing all this, Du Xiaofu looked directly at the numerous experts who'd rushed toward him. These 9 were demons. Some had scales on their bodies, some had horns on their heads, and some had burly bodies. They all had different shapes and sizes. However, they were all very powerful. They were at least at the 7th sky of the immortal realm. Even though Du Xiaofu had broken through to the virtual path realm, he couldn't fight these 9 people head-on. If he fought them head-on, he'd die. Kill. The 9 immortal experts didn't waste time talking nonsense. Following Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan's instructions, they all unleashed their full cultivation. Terrifying demonic qi surged through the void, shattering the void and shaking countless stars. Terrifying rumbles erupted, accompanied by a strong murderous aura. They formed a series of attacks that shot toward Du Xiaofu. Get out of my way! Du Xiaofu roared. With a light wave of his arm, a large expanse of nomological light formed. The origin energy of these laws surged crazily, sweeping through the 9 heavens like a tide, shaking the 9 heavens. The 2 attacks quickly collided, erupting into a world-destroying storm that quickly spread out. In the distance, one star after another exploded under this storm and turned into powder before being swallowed by the black hole. If you want to kill me, then I'll take your lives first. Before the storm could recede, Du Xiaofu's voice rang out once more. He simply blocked the attacks of the 9 high-level immortal rank demon experts, and then he used the law of space to appear beside East Flame Scarlet Phoenix and Qin Yan. Way of the Tyrannical Fist. With a rumbling sound, a fist blasted out. It was as if it could suppress the heavens and kill the earth. It instantly smashed in front of Dongli Qihuang. This punch had condensed Du Xiaofu's powerful cultivation base. It directly sealed the space, immobilizing Dongli Qihuang. Under the restraint of the 4 primitive laws, Dongli Qihuang, one of the 2 great demon servants, could only stare at Du Xiaofu's attack. He couldn't do anything to counter it. The gap between the 2 of them was too big. If Du Xiaofu fought fiercely, he could definitely fight against an expert at 5th sky of Immortal Realm. However, Dongli Qihuang was only at 2nd sky of Immortal Realm. Even though he had 2 primitive laws, he couldn't close the gap between them. Kid, don't you dare! The 9 high-level Immortal Realm experts discolored in fright. They didn't expect that the purple-robed young man didn't care about them. He only aimed at Master Dongli. If they let him hit Master with 1 punch, the consequences would be unimaginable. The 9 of them didn't hesitate. They gathered their attacks and attacked Du Xiaofu 1 more time. Their reactions weren't slow, especially the 2 experts at 9th sky of Immortal Realm. They reacted almost as soon as Du Xiaofu moved. You dare to attack the 2 masters. Kid, you deserve to die 10,000 times. One of the experts at 9th sky of Immortal Realm of the Demon Clan said ferociously. He held a massive demon axe in his hand, which seemed to be able to split the sky and earth. In just a blink of an eye, the axe had reached Du Xiaofu's head. He believed that if that kid didn't stop in time and insisted on continuing to attack Lord Dongli, he would absolutely be able to slash that kid into 2 with this strike of his. Not only him, but the attacks of the other 8 powerhouses also arrived one after another, and like a storm, they attacked Du Xiaofu. Kill! However, it was out of everybody's expectation that the purple-robed young man didn't care about their attacks. He just stared at Dongli Qihuang and punched him in the chest. Almost at the same time, the massive demon axe slashed down and hit Du Xiaofu's body. At the same time, the other attacks also came. Some hit Du Xiaofu's body, but most of them blocked his fist. Boom! Du Xiaofu was blown away in just a blink of an eye. He rolled in the void and flew for a long distance before he could stop. His immortal Xian body was broken. His blood splashed, creating a series of purple and gold lines in the galaxy. On his back, there was an axe mark that was so deep that one could see his bones. It was as if it had split his spine apart. Damn that bastard! Many experts of the Demon Clan cursed, especially the 2 experts at 9th sky of Immortal Realm. They didn't expect Du Xiaofu to be so strong. He had taken so many attacks and was still alive. On the other hand, Master Dong Li's chest was caved in by that kid's punch. His internal organs were all smashed. He was severely injured. You want to kill me? Then you have to leave the 2 of you alive. As for the others, I'll play with them later. Du Xiaofu lifted his sleeve to wipe the blood at the corner of his mouth and said softly. His expression revealed a trace of ruthlessness. Since Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan were bent on killing him and had already attacked repeatedly, it was impossible for him to continue tolerating it. Du Xiaofu wanted to meet General Chen, but he was stopped. The 9 high-level Immortal Realm demons were a great threat. Du Xiaofu knew he couldn't fight them head-on. Fortunately, it wouldn't be easy for them to kill him. Du Xiaofu could fight against experts at 5th sky of Immortal Realm, but the experts at 7th, 8th, and 9th sky of Immortal Realm didn't pose as great a threat to him as before. After all, it wasn't the difference between big realms. The gap between small realms wasn't like an insurmountable chasm. Thus, he decided to kill Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan first. Then, he would find a way to get rid of the 9 high-level Immortal Realm experts. Then, he would enter the black hole and find Jiangchen. I'll leave this kid to you. You must kill him here. At this moment, Xin Yan ordered the 9 demon experts. Then, he took the wounded Dongli Qihuang and retreated to the black hole. The gap between them and Du Xiaofu was huge. At this moment, they weren't his match. If they continued to stay here, they would lose their lives. Want to leave? Did you ask for my permission? Seeing such a scene, Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows slightly and said indifferently from afar. His figure vanished once more on the spot, and he charged directly towards Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. He had made up his mind. No matter what, he had to kill these 2 today to prevent future troubles. As he spoke, he unleashed the first style of Fuyao. However, his figure was only halfway out before he was forced to reveal himself. What an arrogant kid! How dare he ignore us? Under the attacks of the 9 high-level Immortal Realm experts, the void was sealed, and he couldn't pass through. The 9 of them were far stronger than Du Xiaofu. They had mastered profound laws of origin energy. When they interweaved, they formed a terrifying area and forced him out of the black hole. This wasn't the end of it. The experts joined forces and attacked Du Xiaofu fiercely. In an instant, the sky was filled with violent attacks. Like a raging sea, they roared and charged at Du Xiaofu. Origin Void Slaying Sword, open. As soon as Du Xiaofu appeared, he let out a deep roar. It was like a thunderclap, and his roar broke the void. In the distance, stars exploded one after another, turning into dust under this shout. Along with this, circles of law light flashed on the purple-robed young man's body. The 4 primordial laws split apart and transformed into an 8 trigrams diagram. Then, the 8 trigrams diagram transformed crazily and formed a circle of light that surrounded Du Xiaofu's body in the center. There were thousands of scenes in the circle of light. Everything began to transform, heaven and earth appeared, the great Tao rotated, order took shape, and monstrous powers surged like a tide. Under the combination of Du Xiaofu's power, all kinds of power gathered quickly and transformed into a light sword that could pierce through the heavens. It was like the most terrifying attack of the heavens, and it suddenly slashed down. Slash, the void was split open, and the entire star field was about to be divided into 2. The terrifying light sword attack instantly pierced through the attacks of the 9 undying demons, causing a crack to appear. The surrounding space shackles were also destroyed. This was Du Xiaofu's strongest move. Slashing out with his sword, it nearly consumed 30% of his strength. Seizing the chance when the space confinement was broken, he used the first style of Fu Yao and appeared behind Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan in just a blink of an eye. That bastard! Damn it! The 9 immortal demons shouted angrily. They were extremely indignant. That kid was too evil. His attack was so powerful that it carried the Tao aura. Otherwise, even though he was at 5th sky of Immortal Realm, he couldn't have broken their confinement that easily. Leave your life here. As these words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth, he once again smashed his fist down. This time, his target wasn't the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix any longer, and he was charging straight at Qin Yan instead. When he used his full power of the Virtual Path Realm, it was really intimidating. With one punch, the world lost its color, and the sun and moon dimmed. The galaxy in the sky was stirred up. Countless stars left their original orbits and fell into the black hole. Puff! This punch blasted onto Qin Yan's back as expected, causing him to be directly blasted flying. Qin Yan collided with a star that was extremely far away, and it shook the star into powder. Puff! At the instant that Du Xiaofu smashed onto Qin Yan, he suffered another heavy blow. The reaction of the 9 high immortal level demons was too fast. Their attacks were swift and fierce. He couldn't compete with them at all. He was blown away again. Blood gushed out of his mouth, and his face turned gloomy. Masters, run. We must kill this kid. The group of immortal demons shouted and attacked Du Xiaofu one more time. At the same time, an expert at 9th sky of Immortal Realm took East Mythical Red Phoenix and Xin Yan to escort them to the black hole. Today, I'm going to waste my time with you too. Du Xiaofu squinted, emitting a ruthless light. He wasn't in a hurry to attack. Instead, he looked around. He took out the precious herbs from his Qinkuan bag and swallowed them. The efficacy of the herbs was quickly refined to restore his strength. Kid, let's see how many more attacks you can resist. The 9th sky of Immortal Realm expert who stayed behind shouted coldly. He took the other 7 immortal demons and pressed forward. They weren't in a hurry to attack. They just wanted to trap the kid and give the 2 masters time to escape. As long as the 2 masters left, they wouldn't have to worry about fighting anymore. In front of the 8 high-level Immortal Realm experts, no matter how fierce the purple-robed young man was, he couldn't do anything. When the opponent was exhausted to a certain extent, he wouldn't have a chance to escape even if he wanted to. I'm determined to kill them. Even you can't stop me. Du Xiaofu snorted coldly. Suddenly, an earth-shaking dragon roar came from his throat. Rings of sound waves spread out and turned into ripples that hit the galaxy. The second transformation of the green spirit armor was activated. A 10,000 zhang-long green dragon coiled up like a mountain ridge, crushing the void. Attack together! Kill this kid! The 8 immortal demons shouted and swarmed forward. Du Xiaofu's attack had frightened them. They didn't know how strong he was, so they didn't dare to delay any longer. They were afraid that he would find a chance to kill his way out of the encirclement. Origin Sky Killing Sword, kill! Facing another encirclement, Du Xiaofu unleashed the quintessent sky-slaying sword again. However, this time, he didn't use his full strength. He only used 10% of his strength to cut a small gap in the encirclement. However, this small gap was enough for him to use his Space Upanishad to chase after Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan. However, a sword of light descended from the sky above the Azure Dragon, and it obliterated space. After it tore through the terrifying obstruction, it vanished once more and appeared where Qin Yan and Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix were at the same time. Kid go die! The demon expert at Ninth Sky of Immortal Realm, who was protecting Eastly Red Phoenix and Xin Yan, grinned fiendishly. He was well prepared. He directly released his demon chi, creating a massive demon saber that hovered in the air. When Du Xiaofu appeared, the demon saber slashed at his chest. Do you really think you can stop me? Du Xiaofu sneered. Unexpectedly, he used the law of space twice in a row and cleverly avoided such a blow. His figure flickered twice and he appeared behind the 2 demon attendants again. Damn it! The Ninth Sky of Immortal Realm expert cursed and changed the direction of his attack. However, it was too late. Du Xiaofu's fists punched Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan at the same time. They were blown away, vomiting blood. Luckily, the other experts had come back in time. Otherwise, if they hadn't stopped Du Xiaofu's attack, they would have been killed. Kid, I will kill you! The group of high-level Immortal Realm experts roared continuously, their roars shaking the sky. Du Xiaofu had enraged them. Even under the siege of 9 experts, this kid could still break through their defense and attack the 2 masters. This result had enraged them. They almost went crazy. If they didn't kill this purple-robed young man, it would be their biggest humiliation. Go! Blood sprayed from the bodies of Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix and Chen Yan, and their expressions were heavy to the extreme. They didn't dare to stay any longer. Du Xiaofu was too ferocious. Even 9 experts couldn't stop him. They didn't want to think too much. They just wanted to get into the black hole as soon as possible. Under the lead of the Ninth Sky of Immortal Realm expert, the 3 of them flew away quickly. Do you think you can escape? In the distance, Du Xiaofu's Azure Dragon body had been badly damaged. His scales were flying, his flesh was exploding, and his bones were covered in stubble. He didn't have an immortal body. Even though he had the double protection of the indestructible Xian body and the Azure Spirit armor, he couldn't avoid being killed by the 9 Immortal Realm experts. However, Du Xiaofu had the intention to kill Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan. He didn't want them to live anymore. Therefore, the previous scene continued to play out in this star field. Du Xiaofu broke through the encirclement of numerous Immortal Realm experts time and time again. He arrived near Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan time and time again, and he launched unimaginable attacks on them. He was attacked many times, and his Azure Dragon body was almost broken in half. However, Du Xiaofu persisted. His strength was almost exhausted. Every time he used the quintessent Sky Slayer sword, a large portion of his strength would be extracted. This was a desperate battle. He disregarded the 9 high-level Immortal Realm experts and killed the target they were protecting. This process was very difficult, and it caused Du Xiaofu to suffer heavy injuries. Fortunately, Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan were on the verge of death and couldn't hold on any longer. Under Du Xiaofu's desperate attacks, they were heavily injured and their lives were hanging by a thread before they could even make a move. We've arrived at the black hole. Go in quickly. Dongli Qihuang's voice was already extremely weak. He gazed at the black hole before him and instructed the Immortal Realm experts by his side. So long as they entered the black hole, Du Xiaofu wouldn't be able to continue acting rashly. The experts from the Devil Clan who carried them nodded, and then they sped up and plunged into the black hole. Could it be that you'll be able to avoid death if you hide in there? Du Xiaofu muttered as he gazed at the extraordinarily large black hole. It was like the enormous mouth of a terrifying devil, and it was even vaster than the sky and possessed a terrifying devouring force. Even if he was just standing in the nearby void, Du Xiaofu could feel a shapeless tearing force on him, and it wanted to devour him. He stood on the spot for a moment before he noticed that the 8 immortal realm experts behind him had caught up to him once more. Du Xiaofu didn't even think about it before he plunged into the black hole. Chapter 2859. In the fierce battle, Du Xiaofu suffered unimaginable injuries, while Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan were on the verge of death. If it weren't for the protection of the high-level immortal experts, the two of them would have died in Du Xiaofu's hands. Even so, even though Du Xiaofu was severely exhausted, he still managed to break out of the encirclement of the powerhouses again and again, trying to kill the two of them. When Du Xiaofu followed Dongli Qihuang, Shen Yan, and the 9th sky of immortal realm expert into the black hole, he saw a different scene that shocked him. What is this place? Du Xiaofu was a little stunned. He stood in the void, unable to calm down. Everywhere he looked was a scene of devastation. Waves of fishy smell assaulted his face, making him want to vomit. The entire space was filled with waves of thick devil qi. It was extremely terrifying. The ground was covered with eerie broken bones. Not a single one of them was in a complete state. In the distant river, scarlet blood flowed. A large amount of mist shrouded the sky, causing the sky to be dark and blood-red. This kind of space made Du Xiaofu feel very shocked. He had never seen anything like this before. Even though the Fiend God battlefield had been soaked in blood for countless years, it still couldn't compare to the terrifying aura here. This place could definitely be called a devil's domain. The aura here is similar to the Fiend God battlefield, but it's much more terrifying. Du Xiaofu came to this conclusion after observing for a while. In his perception, this space was filled with endless bloodthirsty and murderous aura. It was pervasive and constantly attacked his body and primordial spirit. This space was too terrifying. He could vaguely hear the terrifying sounds of fighting and the sound of flowing blood. In addition, he could vaguely hear the sound of bones being gnawed. It was constantly attacking his perception. If it wasn't for the fact that his cultivation was deep, he would have lost control of his mind if he came here before he broke through to the Void Dao stage. There are other creatures here. After some observation, Du Xiaofu discovered that there were many creatures everywhere, but these creatures all had the appearance of the demon clan. Although these demons were not particularly powerful, and almost none of them were at the immortal realm, their numbers were huge. With a simple scan, Du Xiaofu could sense at least billions of creatures. This caused Du Xiaofu to be deeply shocked. Could this really be a demonic domain? Didn't that mean that this place could be considered the nest of the demon race? Such a conjecture made him even more unable to calm down. If this was really the case, then the situation would be extremely bad. Du Xiaofu, since you've come in, just wait here for the Lord to come and see you. In the distance, Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan were supported by the demon expert at 9th sky of immortal realm. They talked to Du Xiaofu. The two of them had suffered such deep injuries that they couldn't even stand properly. Their faces were filled with unwillingness. They'd originally wanted to kill Du Xiaofu outside, even if it meant being punished by the Lord. But this brat wasn't just strong, he was also treacherous and cunning. He'd pursued them relentlessly, risking serious injuries and putting himself in danger to kill them. At this moment, he had already entered this space. If he continued to attack, he was afraid that His Excellency would really be angered. Where's Jiangchen? When he heard Dongli Qihuang's voice, Du Xiaofu snapped out of his daze. He stopped observing his surroundings and asked in return, "Do you think the Lord is someone you can meet just because you want to? Just wait here. Once the Lord comes out of seclusion, he'll naturally come find you." Shen Yan snorted coldly. "Is that so?" Du Xiaofu arched his brows and continued, "It's boring to just wait here. Since Jiangchen won't show up, I'll kill the two of you first." Before he could finish, he wielded the origin, void-slaying sword, and slashed at Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan. This attack was so sudden that no one had time to react. The demon expert at ninth sky of Immortal Realm standing next to the two demon attendants was stunned for a moment. Du Xiaofu attacked as soon as he said he would. He'd really caught the enemy off guard. As the sword light slashed down, it caused the heavens and the earth to be split in half from top to bottom. But in the void, there were laws circulating, quintessence deriving, and Taoist rhymes transforming. The vast sword light slashed the sky above and broke the 9 underworlds below. The peerless mighty force instantly bound the eastern flame Scarlet Phoenix and Chen Yan, causing them to be unable to move at all. "Kid, you've got guts." The ninth sky of Immortal Realm expert was enraged. He hastily defended himself. A huge screen formed in his hand. Demon Chi filled the sky and turned into a shield-like object, blocking the three of them. Swish! The sword slashed down, and the three figures were pushed back at the same time. The pitch-black light shield made of Demon Chi was broken instantly. The sword power was also shattered. However, the aftermath of the attack still spread out, shaking the sky. The destructive power of the origin was boundless, shaking the sky and the earth, destroying everything. The ninth sky of Immortal Realm expert was too hasty to defend himself. He didn't have time to gather more energy before Du Xiaofu's attack arrived. He was still fine. Relying on his tyrannical cultivation, he was able to easily withstand the shockwaves from the sword strike. However, the Eastern Flame Qi Huang and Qin Yan weren't so lucky. They were already seriously injured, and they suffered a terrifying shock amidst the terrifying commotion. Their vital energy and blood roiled, and they spat out large mouthfuls of blood in succession. "Kid, you're courting death." The 8 experts who had followed behind Du Xiaofu shouted angrily. They quickly besieged Du Xiaofu, trying to trap him. On the other hand, the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix and Qin Yan fled towards the depths of this expanse of space. "Let's see how long you can run." Du Xiaofu didn't mind the people behind him. He continued to use his space principle to catch up with Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan, attacking them one more time. Shortly after, the scene outside the black hole reappeared. The ninth sky of Immortal Realm expert was protecting Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan as they were running away. Behind them, the 8 high-level Immortal Realm experts attacked continuously, trying to stop Du Xiaofu and subdue him. In the middle, Du Xiaofu withstood the terrifying attacks one after another, but he still hit the 2 demon attendants time and time again. In the blink of an eye, it hadn't been long before Chen Yan and the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix were successively attacked to the point of being on the verge of death. "Kid, I'm going to tear you into pieces." Many high-level Immortal Realm experts roared angrily, but they couldn't do anything other than stop Du Xiaofu. The space principle was too strange, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. They had used all kinds of methods to seal him, but that kid had used the Origin Void Slaying Sword to break them. They couldn't stop him completely. If it weren't for them standing in front and causing a strong disturbance to Du Xiaofu, even if the 2 demon attendants had 10 lives, they would have died long ago. "I said I'll kill you first, so I won't let you go," Du Xiaofu said through gritted teeth. He was severely wounded, and he had consumed more than 90% of his energy. However, he wasn't afraid at all. He was determined to kill Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan. In the worst case, he would hide in the desolate ancient space to recover after killing them. Then, he would come out to deal with the other 9 high-level Immortal Realm experts. While they were talking, Du Xiaofu broke through the 8 experts' blockade one more time. Then, he wielded his powerful sword and attacked. The 9th sky of Immortal Realm expert by Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan's side attacked fiercely. However, Du Xiaofu's space principle was constantly activated, dodging his attacks. His silhouette looked like a twinkling star in the night sky, suddenly in front and suddenly behind, making it hard for others to grasp his movements. After a series of leaps and bounds, Du Xiaofu finally found a chance to approach Dongli Qihuang and Xin Yan. The terrifying sword light was flashing. The cold light was so dense that it seemed to be real. Everyone present was an expert, so they could feel the endless power carried by this sword light. Under it, the void was being destroyed, the heaven and earth were rotating, the time and space were collapsing, and the great Tao was evolving. Lines of principle were mixed with terrifying Tao aura, crushing the world and destroying everything that stood in their way. At this moment, both Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan were stunned. They seemed as if they'd been dumbstruck, and they stood there motionlessly as they watched the terrifying sword light descend. They seemed to see death beckoning them. The Origin sky-slaying sword was like an object from the netherworld that wanted to swallow them and bring them back to the yellow spring. Die! Du Xiaofu also shouted fiercely. He moved with the momentum, and the space around him was disturbed by his sword light. He believed that so long as the strike descended, then the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix and Qin Yan would definitely die a graveless death. However, right at this moment, a feeling of extreme danger suddenly arose in Du Xiaofu's heart. In the next instant, a palm that was pure white like jade suddenly appeared out of thin air, and it didn't fluctuate at all as it directly appeared where Du Xiaofu's sword light was. This palm was bent and knocked lightly like an ordinary person flicking their finger, and it was simple to the extreme. However, such a simple action had directly struck Du Xiaofu's strongest attack that he'd condensed all his strength into. Clang! A clear and resounding sound suddenly resounded. Swish! Du Xiaofu's sword light instantly collapsed and dispersed, and it transformed into energy fragments and lines of the obliteration laws that covered the sky. The energy of the laws was crushed, the quintessence was dispersed, and the aura of the Tao was suppressed. Du Xiaofu was affected by it, and his entire body was instantly blasted flying. He drew out a perfectly straight line as he smashed through the continuous expanse of space, and in the end, he collided with a majestic mountain 5,000 kilometers away and flattened it. At the same place, a terrifying energy storm was swirling and had the power to destroy everything. However, this scene vanished like smoke and clouds under the gentle touch of the palm. Everything was annihilated, and the void regained its tranquility. This palm was so terrifying that it could easily break Du Xiaofu's strongest attack. Others didn't know how strong the Origin void-slaying sword was, but Dongli Qihuang, Qin Yan, and the 9 immortal realm experts of the demon clan knew it clearly. Not to mention ordinary people, even the two of them at the 9th sky of the immortal realm couldn't break that attack so easily. The identity of the intruder was about to be revealed. My lord! The 9 immortal realm experts all knelt down at the same time and saluted to the void with a sense of fear and trepidation. Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yan forcefully supported their bodies that were on the verge of collapse as they bowed and were extremely respectful. While they were saluting, a young man around 30 years old stepped out of the space and appeared in front of them. His face was cold and handsome, and he had a pair of deep, dark eyes. His thick eyebrows were slightly raised in a rebellious manner. He wore a long, light purple robe, which wasn't different from the purple robe Du Xiaofu was used to wearing. However, the long, light purple robe on the man's body made him look elegant and graceful. The man's hair was tied high on his head, and his long hair flowed down his back like flowing water. His head was slightly tilted up, and his handsome side profile was impeccable. Yeah. Facing the respect of Dongli Qihuang, Qin Yan, and more than 10 experts of the demon clan, the man just grunted and ignored them. He just looked at Du Xiaofu's location. He took a step forward and disappeared in a blink of an eye. The distance of millions of miles was crossed by him easily. In the next instant, the man arrived at the collapsed mountain peak. Jiangchen! Du Xiaofu crawled up from the wreckage on the ground and coughed violently a few times. Then, he raised his eyes and looked at the man in front of him. Du Xiaofu was incomparably familiar with this man's appearance. If it wasn't Jiangchen, whom he hadn't seen for many years, who else could it be? Du Xiaofu's heart was conflicted and indescribable. At this moment, it was becoming increasingly difficult for him to calm down. He stared at Jiangchen. The light in Jiangchen's eyes was far too different from before. His pitch-black eyes glowed with a faint blood-red light. The two old friends stood facing each other. Du Xiaofu didn't feel the same as before. It was as if he was facing a stranger, except the stranger looked like Jiangchen. You can call me Jiangchen, or you can call me by another name. Jiangchen looked indifferently at Du Xiaofu, then spoke softly. His expression was calm and unruffled. There was no joy or excitement at meeting an old friend, nor was there any murderous intent like when facing an enemy. He looked at Du Xiaofu with eyes as calm as an ancient well, as if he were talking to someone completely unrelated to him. Perhaps it would be more appropriate for me to call you the demon ancestor. Du Xiaofu was silent for a long time, then finally said these words. He couldn't help but inwardly sigh. His intuition couldn't be wrong. Jiangchen really was no longer the Jiangchen he knew. Based on his previous attack, it was clear that he hadn't held back in the slightest. He'd sent him flying. Du Xiaofu felt his condition was indescribably terrible. In fact, it was even worse than when he'd resisted the Great Tao's heavenly punishment. His strength had already been exhausted to the extreme. He couldn't fight anymore. It doesn't matter if I'm called Jiangchen or the demon ancestor. I'm Jiangchen, and I'm the demon ancestor. But that's not important. Finally, Jiangchen focused his gaze and looked seriously at Du Xiaofu. What's important is that you're here. His eyes seemed to contain a strange, magical power that caused Du Xiaofu's soul to tighten. It was as if he couldn't move. This feeling was too terrifying. He couldn't control himself at all. It was as if he'd fallen under someone else's control. You wanted to see me. Is there anything you want to say? After a long while, Du Xiaofu finally managed to regain his composure. He wanted to test Jiangchen and see what kind of state he was in. In reality, Du Xiaofu still held on to some hope. He hoped that Jiangchen's consciousness had simply been suppressed by the demon ancestor and hadn't fused with him. If that was the case, it didn't mean he had no chance of rescuing Jiangchen. Naturally, I have something to say to you. Jiangchen gently turned around and said calmly, back in the divine battle world, the demon god died by my hands. So I've repaid the favor I owed you. Since then we don't owe each other anything. Du Xiaofu remained silent. He knew what the favor Jiangchen was talking about. Many years ago, on his way back from the ancient wastelands to the desolate country, Du Xiaofu had encountered Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan. Just as he was about to kill them, Jiangchen suddenly appeared and took them from him, promising him a favor. However, Du Xiaofu had never taken this seriously. After all, he and Jiangchen were on good terms. He didn't take this matter to heart. It could be said that back then, Jiangchen was still in a muddle-headed state. He didn't even know his true identity. He'd only relied on his intuition to believe that Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yan were related to him. However, Du Xiaofu also knew that when Jiangchen killed the demon god, he must have awakened some of his memories. I am Jiangchen and also the demon ancestor. At that moment, Jiangchen spoke again. Therefore, I will inevitably become enemies with the entire 33 heavens. No one will be able to stop me. As he spoke, he turned to look at Du Xiaofu. As Jiangchen, and for the sake of our friendship, I advise you to return to Shenwu world. Don't get involved in these muddy waters. If you can do that, we can't say we're friends, but we definitely won't be enemies. I can also promise you one thing. Shenwu world will be the only pure land the demon race can conquer. As Jiangchen spoke, his gaze was incomparably calm, without the slightest ripple of emotion. It was terrifyingly calm. Du Xiaofu could feel that the other party was only saying this because of their friendship in the past. Perhaps there were other reasons, but this sentence was sincere enough. However, he could also sense something else. Jiangchen could no longer return. If Jiangchen was under the control of the demon ancestor's primordial spirit, his own intelligence would have been suppressed. He definitely wouldn't have felt this way. He wouldn't have allowed himself to return to Shenwu world and even promised that it would become the only pure land. This could only mean one thing. Jiangchen had changed. There was nothing he could do to reverse the situation. Are you pitying me, or are you afraid of me? Since he was certain of this, Du Xiaofu didn't think too much about it. Instead, a strange smile tugged at the corners of his lips as he asked Jiangchen. From the standpoint of an old friend, Jiangchen was pitying him. He didn't want him and the people of Shenwu world to be implicated in the war. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.